Anticipation of you and me, my holy vision of what could be is a dead religion to me. I'm walking with the ghost behind my ears, the only one that's real, so close to me. I'm falling and washing down to my knees, begging for mercy.
For everybody to step up to the plate, it's very difficult for teams to kind of chunk them down.
Yeah, very true. That is very true. I think, they ultimately are one of these teams that just...
Përshëndetje gjithë shqipeve tona ku do që ndodhen e puna për cilin, faleminderit shumë edhe për subscribes, edhe për supportin e madh që po na jepni çdo ditë. Pra sot jena kundër iNation, një ekip serb me një lojtar kroat e 4 lojtar tjerë pra nga Serbia. Spezi faleminderit shumë. Shumë faleminderit për 10 tier 1 subs. Pra për shohim iNation, një ekip 37 world ranking. Do me thonë sot do t'jena në këtë bot, edhe masi desim një paton kanë mi pas kundërshtar. Mos t'fole ma shumë. I përshëndesim. Si s'dim na mi përshëndet njëre shumë mirë, sot pim shelim syt para se mu buk të 10.000 uzera live. Pelshën gjuci bombën e vetë, pra Depression, Kindo, Dragon, Koev edhe Velden, Dërgji Pishu, jebem ti majku nënën jau shifra. Shumë shpejt, do t'filloj dhe loja është best of one, pra vetëm një map. Shtu që shpresojmë edhe për Bad News Eagles të arrit kualifikohet për turnirin tjetër që ka më mbajt në blast, e sidomos për RMR, ku po e presim edhe një kualifikim tjetër në Paris që na pret edhe majori, ndërkohë po i shohim edhe banat nga të dyja ekipet në mapa. Ekipa sërbe me ban Mirage, bëneja ban Anubis, iNation ban Ancient, bënej ban Nuke, kundërshtart ban Vertigo, bëneja ban Overpass, edhe mapa e fundit besomni që as vet nuk e posh cilla është. Shto që e pas kanë edhe pak përgut kë Mr. Rumullaki në anën e majt, edhe kë Bukoroshi në anën e djath me sytë e kaltërt. Inferno pra është decider. Do të bëhet kë best of one në mapën Inferno. Po presim që të dyja ekipet jenë sa më shpejt gati, edhe të fillon gjithçka live. Do i shohim ndërkohë dhe ca statistika të dyja ekipeve për mapën Inferno. Pra siç po shihet, gjithçka në plus për bënen, vetëm T-round win, pra me 61% ekipa kundërshtare. Mos t'ja përmenim as emnin e venit që e kanë. Edhe njerë për gjithë juve që tashmë keni hynë channelin ton, jemi kunder ekipës, pra kunder shkijeve World Ranking 37. Ndërkohë, regjia vetë se janë duke u përgatit që gjithçka të filloj në Inferno, ndërkohë jemi shumë në stres, po e lezim një cigare shpejt, sepse sot nuk falet nëse rasisht bëhet gabimi madh, sonte vetëm fitore kundër iNation.
It does slightly, I think, really going to be a difficult one here. But again, as I've said, I just think on paper, BNE are a much scarier team at this point in time. We do have the match live here with the knife round, of course, and getting into the action shortly. You think it's got an impact in this game or not?
I actually think it does. I feel like whoever starts on that CT side, it just gets that early bit of confidence, even though this is a a map which is traditionally very, very even in terms of the stats. I just feel like starting on CT just gives you confidence early doors. And if I also feel like if iNation don't get that CT start, they're in a little bit of trouble because they are a team who prefer it. Luckily for them, Knife looking alright.
Nope.
No, GXX will see it off. BNE, I'm assuming they'll stick where they are on CT side. iNation gonna have to start things out in quite the puggy fashion on T side. It's looking like, which isn't exactly the most favourable side to start, especially when you're against a team as aggressive as BNE can be.
Well, not our first Inferno of the day. I doubt it will be our last. I think it's going to be a popular one with the crop of teams that we've got today. So we'll see. This is going to be
Përfundon pra dhe knife round. Bad News Eagles tashmë në CT side do të filloj mapën Inferno në T side ekipa kundërshtare. 3 sekonda dhe gjithçka është live. Dual Berettas të dy lojtarët e ekipës son Synops GX. Sener me vetëm një flash, e në anën tjetër një push i flatrës në boiler, por info ku po e shohim edhe armikun ton Veldon. Në sekund me tashmë që po vazhdon edhe në Eps, vjen me një tjetër info flatro për kundërshtarët. Në afërsi të midit kemi 4 lojtarë të iNation që po përgatiten me një ekzekutim në mid e pastaj të vazhdojnë në offside ku po bllokohet tashmë dhe pozita e librarisë. Sener, një tentim i qasës të eliminojnë njërin nga kundërshtarët. Flatro nuk arrin të gjejë ndonjë kill. Flatro Kindle dhe Vilden në Gencën dhe Flatron. Dragon anën tjetër tek Sinopsi. 5 kundër 2 tashmë situata në favor të kundërshtarëve. Spezit, falenderoj shumë nga zemra. Falenderit për subscribes. Rigon. Kërkojnë falje, duhet me ndalë zonën e alertave. Jemi live. Vetëm në hold, Rigon dhe Sener. E shojmë në boiler position. Tashmë qaza e pran librarisë Rigoni. Vazhdo Seneri, një kill. Në ana e qazës trade i shpejt nga Velden. Vdesin dy nga kundërshtarët tanë, kurse Kindle dhe Vilden që arritën me mbet edhe gjallë. 1-0 për ekipën kundërshtare. E shojmë edhe njëre ishte pra aksioni ku filloj në librarin ndaj Flatrës, pastaj edhe eliminimi i Gencit në pit e Dragon tek Sinopsi. Nuk na lejun me bo ndështa edhe një retake deri në fund ekipën ton. 1-0, roundi i dytë, full buy nga ekipa jon. Pra po i shojmë 3 Desert Eagle e 2-5-7 nga Flatro dhe Seneri. 3 lojtarë të bënejs pranë midit, 2 në long, Flatro në short. Në anën tjetër Sener e Rigon në CT e Coffins position. Koiv tashma me një smoke në tregtim të CT's. Janë në hold ekipa kundërshtare me 3 lojtarë në afërsi të pull position e Bad News Eagles. Kanë arrit me 4 lojtarë. Analizojnë një setup tashmë. GX e Flatro në CT position, dyshja tjetër në Coffins dhe side. Ende në hold ekipa kundërshtare. Po vjen edhe lojtari tjetër Dragon në banana. Propa në second mid në lark është Velden. E shojmë Kindo do t'jetë në entry tashmë, kundërshtari jon bllokohet edhe city position me smokat e dytë. Loja së ekipës kundërshtare, Sener me një eliminim të bukur, Kindo me një trade, vazhdojnë ekipa kundërshtare, 35 sekonda, Gjex tashmë ka një timing shumë bukur, Gjex aty! Double kill për është Depression dhe Vildan, i vetëm Vildan, Sinopsi rëzik, Flatro me një tentim, e shojnë Flatro jo dhe gjithë shka para zot. Gjithë shka para zot, një me një rikthejet, Bad News Eagles pa umbër edhe shumë ko. Dështën aty ekipa kundërshtare, ekipa e shqetikave, ekipa e mutit të madhë, Vučićit, dështojnë në këtë aksion, Shqiponja tona lëshon, këtu me Flatron e Sinopsi në fund dhe me njerë jemi në raundin e tretë, gjithë shka e barabart. Kojev tashma i vetëm në mid-ramp, Sinops me një galil në duart e ti ku e blokon edhe Epsin Sinqia, ofër ti qëndron si gjithmonë Flatro, e në anën tjetër po e shojmë tankën tonë, Rigon Man, së bashku me Qazën prapa ti që po qëndron, as njerë me lon shokun në lëq. Ju falenderoj shumë. Gati 10.000 usera, i kemi live në kanalin e Gjocit. Pra dhe njëre mos harroni, nashta dhe na do të desim një dit, po një paton gjithmonë kanë mi pos armish e kundërshtar. Sot 2 milion reklamat e këforit e natos për poshe, sa ato jënë veç foret 50 centve. Sot full urrejtje e fitoret madhe. Flatro në pit, vazhdari kanë rëzik i madh këto, eliminon 2 nga lejtarët tamë, 5 me 3 situata, në loj shpje kemi edhe Gencin. E shojmë, është Seneri më falni në loj shpi, vazhdon Gjex aty, një tentim tjetër, Flatro dhe Sener me nga një kill. Kojiv tashmë në një trade të shpejt të Gencit, 2 me 2 kjo situatë, 25 sekonda, vrapën kundërshtari jon Depression. Pra është një krat, po me hi pak ma fell edhe këtë qasi muti. Flatro jo në momentin e duar, eliminot Depression, Kojev i vetëm, rikthejet propa, nuk ka ndo një rëzik shikus të ndëruar, 2 me 1, ekipa jo në fire. Shpresojmë që regjia, po pra vjen edhe ky replay, ishte në fillim eliminimin ndaj Sinopsit nga Vildan, pastaj Kojev. Tek Rigon me atë solo push në afërsi të rampës Gjex. Në eliminimin tjetër Seneri në hold prej pit. E pastaj Flatro në momentin e duar që eliminon Depression. Dhe 2 me 1 për ekipën tonë. Jo ekonomi e mirë tek kundërshtarët, pra janë në force buy. 3 lejtarë në afërsi të rampës ende në hold, njëri nga ta në Meksiko, pra është Dragon. E Vildan, sikur se në çdo round edhe më herët, në lark, në second mid. Rigon tashmë në double kill së bashku me Senerin, Sinopsi që eliminot Flatro në trade për ta. Rigon në killin e tret dhe pika e tret pro por ekipën ton Bad News Eagles. Pika e tret, shikus të ndëruar, ekonomi e dobët tek qetnikat, armisht tonë të përbetum, të njetën sot jemi gjallë, e dere të sternipat, po shqiet pra dhe njërë ky replay, Rigon dhe Flatro me nga një eliminim, 4 roundet të luajtur atëri më tash, jemi në roundin e 5. U po lëshon ekipa kundërshtare aty në afërsi të midit, janë anën e djathtë pro bench position. A kemi më pas info, po i vëmendshëm është Gjex. Arrin të she armikun Dragon Kindo, që po shëndron ende në bench position në afërsi të midit, kurse treshja tjetër e iNation në second mid e në ramp ende në hold. Sener në hopje të roundin ndaj Kojev, Flatro me një duel këto që nuk mungon ndihma Sinopsit në momentin e duar. Rigon eliminot Vildan aty, vazhdon Genci, Rigon killin tjetër dhe Flatro në përmbyllet të roundit.
very quickly up to 4 hits. Been a very fast.
4-1 pra po shihet.
BNE will get 4 in a
Një
row.
loj
Think
krejtësisht të
really
ndryshe sot e shikues të ndëruar, full zemër janë
how they
djemt.
like to play.
Rash që nga raundi i parë. Nuk e kanë ndërmend të dalin e sidomos Rigon. Me këtë kontroll të bananasa. Hapen pyllësyt. Ende pa fillu edhe raundi. Vazhdojmë raundi tjetër, raundi 6, se në Rigon, default play, Bad News Eagles në long, si gjithmonë qëndron flatro tashma. E një double push po vjen nga Sinopsi e GX, fake molly. E shojmë, Dragon shumë afër tyre. A do tjetë rrezikjo për ekipën tonë apo jo? Vazhdon të bëj hold and the Genci. Dragon i gatshëm për të bërë pik. Në atë pozicion eliminot Genci i vëmenshëm u tregua armiku jon Dragon. 5-4 tashmë situata për ekipën kundërshtare. Shojmë Sinopsi nuk arritë kthehet prapa, do të vazhdoj deri në fund. Të mbaj edhe pozitën e epsit apo jo, rikthehet tashmë Sinqja, vjen një call, më duket nga Flatro, i cili e kërkoi ndihmën e Sinqës të bëj hold edhe shortin, ishte një timing të Porigonin, por pak sot të gjej një eliminim apo edhe info për kundërshtarin Koiv e Kindo, cili tashmë janë shumë afër në banana. Shohim Kindo në hold të bananas. iNation rikthejnë prapa shumë ofër për ekzekutim në A-side. Flatro backside position, Sener shumë ofër ti, Sinopsi vetëm në pit. E eliminim daj Sinopsit, rrezik i madh. E shojmë Sener në Dragon Koiv, tek Seneri, Kindo në Flatron, i vetëm tashma Rigon. I duhet një save Rigonit.
I'd save call. It has to be done. Really does. Now where we're at right now, it's run a little bit tougher in terms of what to call Rigon. I'm going to be able to save. Choi extends.
Munduar Rigon të bëjë një save, eliminohet nga Koiv.
iNation found a second. Very convincingly up to a second as well. It's a great round from them. Great take towards the A side. I think the one thing that really cost.
Na duhet me vazhdu tek kanali tjetër shumë shpejt në Blast Premier, sepse kemi probleme me organizatën e Relog. Kemi një info direkt prej trajnerit ton, Devil Walk. Ju kërkojmë shumë falje, na duhet me vazhdu te Blast Premier Twitch, për shkak që nuk po e lejojnë edhe trajnerin ton me zhvillu lojën. Pro, jënë du i bo presion të madh. Garant naj admin prej Serbis, që nuk po na jep drejtën direkt te kanali i organizatës Relog. Kështu që më mirë të kthehem në raundet më herët se të ketë probleme trajneri jon Devil Walk. Sepse tashmë është live me djemët edhe i duhet full fokus. Ju kërkoj edhe njëre shumë falje, po me rëndësi sonte është që fitohet loja kundër armiqve ton iNation. Na duhet me prit deri sot të rikthehemi në 4-1 që ishim më herët, sepse i pam këto aksione, e kemi drejtën në Blast për transmetim, por tek organizata tjetër nuk po e lojnë ekipën ton rahat as me lujt. Kjo është arsyeja pra. Shpresoj që të më kuptoni edhe mu si gjatës. E të vazhdojmë komentimin prej rezultatit 4-1.
Now we're starting to see BNE already very early doors in towards their Inferno. But quite a nice little repertoire on CT side. Getting you into a second mid for the time being. Deep nade coming through, but two sitting up close and personal. Sinopsi dancing the devil a little bit. GXS trying to cover his back.
I think they have to be careful here. They've got to watch out that they don't lose any players in the BNE round. Ultimately need to keep a hefty chunk of the players alive. Certainly easier said than done into these Deagles. Here's an opportunity for one. Not going to get it though. Dragon does go down. Meanwhile, Rigon pushing in behind. Lovely stuff from him to just secure the round when Flatro left low, but no kills coming in for iNation. BNE very quickly up to 4 hits. Been a very fast game so far, and BNE will get 4 in a row. I think they are, ready for the quick, fast aggression. If anything, happy for it. It's also how they like to play.
Now, right now, we're seeing some fantastic Counter-Strike. They just, managing to pretty comfortably cope against, buys that they should be winning off, of course, but it's always easier said than done, especially in these best of ones where it's very nervy, very tentative. We see people make mistakes and rookie errors. To be able to survive so consistently and comfortably against these sort of mixed, middling buys, what really matters most. iNation, full buy for them heading in towards next, depression in towards the AWP. No AWP on the side of the CT, but a double stack in towards stairs. Does Dragon know as one will fall away, but GXX just sticking around.
GXX doesn't win the fight. Does a lot of damage, but doesn't win the fight. A risky spot to hold, you have to say.
True.
Synopsy kind of doing the same here as well.
All goes so silent with a minute to work with. You can sort of see iNation, yes, they got the man advantage. Still very tentative how they play this. Boost coming through. Rigon needs to be careful. He's playing with fire a little bit. He can fall over towards sandbags. Does make the cross and back unscathed. And with no one taking information, no one peeking him, he might relay misinformation that no one's towards B, which isn't the case. Luckily for BNE though, the bombs go back towards A, which they've rotated for.
They've gotten very lucky here, actually. So, now in a good spot, have to hold well. Flash is going to come round. Synopsy will be Molotov'd out. No smoke for him to deal with. Nice position by Choi to take down Synopsy. There's 2 players in on the site, about to get messy here. Still one more to deal with. They're not sure of where he's at. Juan Flatro eventually overwhelmed. And although they had 3 ready to go, only 1 kill comes in for the BNE defense. iNation, they pull it back, they play it slower, and they find success.
I'd save call. It has to be done. Really does. Now where we're at right now, it's run a little bit tougher in terms of what to call. Rigon going to be able to save. Choi extends through. He was shift walking away. Unsure of kind of where everybody was. iNation found a second. Very convincingly up to a second as well. It's a great round from them. Great takeover towards the A side. I think the one thing that really cost BNE, aside from essentially losing the man advantage and GXX falling, was just their lack of util. They just weren't really prepared for that late take, and then have the smokes to work with to keep iNation at bay, or even a couple of Molotovs to deny their presence down short. Left BNE in.
Jo kërkoj shumë falje. Na kam bo presion, do me thonë direkt te trajneri unë I skuadrës, organizata Relog.
Banana Kindo just about not ticking.
Tashmë do t'jemi live ku mbeta më herët pas ati killin ndaj Rigonit. Kindo me një tentim është Rigon përsëri I cili realizon një double kill ndaj Koj dhe Dragon. Kindo me vetëm një trade në drejtim tek Rigon. Shumë bukur e përfundon edhe misionin Baba Shfule. Vazhdojmë me Gencin, tashmë në hold prej CT position e në forced box që ndron Seneri pro top boxes në afërsi të sajtit Qaza. Ende në hold pran Bananas, Kindo dhe kundërshtari jon Depression. E prapa që po qëndron në larg është Velden rolin e tij si që po me dhe më herët. E shohim Gencin shumë bukur, tashmë me change position GX në dark, arrin të futet Genci, është I blokuar prej 2 molotovave, 2 shasener dhe GX. GX aty në double killin tjetër. Dhe Depression me vetëm një trade, miss shot nga ana ti dhe pika e 5 për Bad News Eagles. Pika 5 për ekipën ton. Vjen edhe timeout I parë në këtë best of one. Është ekipa kundërshtare. Shohim edhe njëherë këtë replay tek Rigon në mënyrë shumë të shpejtë arrin ma spray transfer të realizoj double killin Rigon e pastaj në përmbyllet të raundit Sener dhe Flatro. Ekonomi jo e mirë ndoshta themi prej 5 litarëve të armiqve tonë. Janë vetëm 3 nga ata që mund të realizojnë ndoshta një full buy me AK apo edhe AVP. Që jo ndonjë bajt themi ashtu full që edhe neve të na shkaktoj probleme, pra kjo vetëm sa u realizua nga armisht. Velden me një Galil Koiv me një Deagle e 3 AK-a të tjerë. Rigon Sener, vetëm 2 litar në hall të B-site-it. Ashdon me fallen flashes, Seneri në support të Rigonit. Është Kindo, lejtari i bananas në T-site që po tenton në çdo round, i vëmendshëm Rigon. E shohim një duel i ashpër mes Rigonit dhe kundërshtarit. Ende në hold janë 3 lojtar nga ekipa kundërshtare, 2 të tjerë tashmë në ndihmë tek Velden. Ka rrit të afrohet edhe kundërshtari tjetër Dragon në second mid. E që tashmë po e vazhdon rrugën prej Meksikos, besoj direkte në banana. Flatro në boiler position, offer ti qëndron në short edhe Ginci me AVP, po ashtu edhe Sinopsi në long, kurse në minimap po shihet një tërheqje prapa e ekipës kundërshtarëve apo armiqve tanë. iNation dal nga dal do të afrohen për një ekzekutim, një super flash nga Sinopsi, vazhdon Flatro, tentim tjetër. Elimino tashmë dhe Sigja me një kill me vete, full blind jacks, probleme këto apo jo. Arrin të gjetë pak të një eliminim, daj Velden Jacks, shumë bukur ky play nga Ginci. Koiv dhe Kindo, dyshja e serve në low HP, prapa me një flank është Rigon që po afrohet në Apex e në long ende në pritje Seneri. Por ndonjë play të Rigonit e shohim, është Rigon ai cili do të tentoj më herët se qaza. Në pit kemi kundërshtarin e parë, Kindo e të dytë në graveyard. Rigon nuk ka ende info, kërcen në pit, eliminimi shpejt nga Rigon, 3 nga Kindo, 1-1 Seneri, nuk ka edhe shumë kohë për Seneri, ne shohim fake diffuse. Qaza ende në ndjekja aty, është blokuar edhe me Molotov. Kindo pra arrin fitoren e këti raundi Kindo dhe pika e tretë për armisht. iNation, shojmë njëre ishte momenti kur Flatro arriti të bëj pik në mid nga i support flash prej Sinopsit e në fund GX nuk pat do një mundësi tjetër. Shumë bukur e përfundoi atë aksion me një eliminim me vete që e mori Ginci. E tashmë 8 raunde vetë se kanë përfunduar, shikues të nderuar, jemi në raundin e 9. Jo ekonomi e mirë tek ekipa jon, por që kanë realizuar deri në fund një full buy. Është vetëm Sinopsi që do të qëndrojë me një M4, sa i përket edhe këtij raundi. Një nade aty i Sinopsit, double damage tek dyshja depression e Koiv. E shohim vetëm kontroll e bananas nga armiqt tanë. Por që në fund por i kthehem prapa tashmë përsëri në mid ku po e shohim në minimap. Ekipa jon të gatshëm për një setup me 4 lojtarësh Bad News Eagles, si vetëm Sinopsi në banana me një M4. Po futet tashmë kundërshtari jon Koiv në pritje Rigon aty. Një tag me një Deagle në lloj shpje kemi kundërshtarin Dragon. Duel me Sti dhe Ginci, të reshje prapa e GX, ndihma e Senerit në pet, e shohim Rigon ka realizuar një kill, është Dragon që po futet, Flatro me në eliminim, Seneri me një trade, vazhdon Seneri tjetë gjallë ende në 7 HP është Seneri. Velden në hull të shortit, Kindo në offside, Sinopsi, rrezik i madh të tjetë për Sinqen, eliminot në fund, por Seneri ka rritë e gjej killin ndaj Kindos. Seneri aty! Me vetëm 7 HP qoza jon! Arin të gjellë pikën fituese të këti raundi! Që na duhe shumë shikues të ndëruar ky raund! Është Baba Kjazim! Ai cili nuk na dëshpron as edhe një herë të vetme! E shohim edhe njëre pro replay ishte Rigon, ai cili hapi lojën në long, pastaj Dragon dhe Velden Me këto eliminimin në sajt, kurse vazhdon të ende me atë late game qaza, duke bërë loj 100% defanzive prej pitit, e në fund me atë push të shpejt, me një 5-7 seneri, pika e 6 për Bad News Eagles, është një hap i madh shikues të ndëruar, soj përket t'i raundit që përfundoj. Rigon, solo push, bench position nga shfulja. E shojmë, Rigon, i vëmenshëm, vetëm një eliminim, Dragon me një trejt për ta. 4-4 tashmo situata. 1 minutë e 30 sekonda ende herët dhe ka shumë kohë ekipa. Apo armiston që të bëjnë një rikthim prapa pas kontrollimit të bananas. Dhe ekipa jo nuk duhet të lëshojnë pozitat e tyre çfarë nejdi nga seneri është përsëri. Me një triple damage të kundërshtarët tonë qaza. Por është i vetëm tashmë kemi një rush nga kundërshtarët. Pillar position, seneri, ende në hold. Vazhdon Dragon dhe Velden dyshja që tashmë kanë arrit të futën në City. Një rrezik për sinopsi, vjen me një info, eliminot Sinqja. 4-3 situata në favor të armiqve. Vazhdon seneri me një tentim nga pillari. Kojevi vëmenshëm me depression për pozitën e senerit që arrin eliminimin dajti GX në hold. Dy lojtarë të tjerë janë Dragon dhe Velden pro që po vazhdojnë të bëjnë double pick në coffins position. Eliminot po ashtu dhe Gence e tashmë Flatro i duhet një tërheqje prapa shpejt që të realizoj një save deri në fund Flatro e të jemi të gatshëm në raundin e 11. Sepse ky round i 10 vetëse ka përfunduar. Shikues të ndëruar në favor të armiqve tanë. Pika e 4 nga iNation. E shojmë edhe një replay të Rigonit. Shumë bukur e hapi lojën në mid, por ishte një timing jo i mirë sa i përket edhe kundërshtarit tjetër Dragon, ai cili arriti ta zgjej tradin në mënyrë të shpejt. Dhe i Rigonit në atë moment, e kjo që na solli probleme të mëdha. Full buy ekipa jon, nuk i kanë tërmen të lëshon, 4 pistoleta. Kemi 3 digla, një 5-7 si gjithmonë tek senere e një M4 tek Flatro. Lojtari jon me një M4 pra Flatro, stari ekipës. Vazhdon të bëj hold pran mindit në pozitën e shortit sa për info. Tashmë ka rritë të dëgjej edhe njërin nga kundërshtarët në Eps, Flatro. Një tentim me këtë wallbang. Po e kërkon është një damage ndaj Velden Flatro. Shojmë Dragon në afërsi të midit. Ende në hold ekipa kundërshtare me 3 lojtarë në atë pozit. Retake flashes nga Koiv. E në second man vazhdon tjetë ende Velden së bashku me Dragon. Depression në entry position. Vazhdon depression. Do tjetë në hold apo në pritje sinopsi këtu prej Coffins. Seneri top first box. Sigur se edhe më heret, pra lëshon ekipa kundërshtare, një eliminim i bukur nga sinopsi. Tentim tjetër nuk e lejon këtë Koiv. Kemi një situatë 4-3 në favor të armiqve. Shohim Koiv në plantim të bombës tashmë, default position e Velden ka rrit edhe eliminimin ndaj Gencit në afërsi të Epsit. Shohim Velden
an actual eco out from BNE. Can you believe it?
Ka rrit të kontrolloj tashmë edhe Epsin kundërshtari jon. Në mid e kemi edhe Dragon që po vjen me një lojë të qetë.
Being delivered right here, but of course, I guess the silver lining is the M4 is still alive. Might not be the case at the end.
Flatra aty me një pikë që shumë bukur arrin eliminimin e Dragon. Tjetë ende gjallë për një save tjetër Flatra. Por që kjo është tashmë një telashe e mëdha
Yeah, so we are going to have to see an eco coming through surely now. They can't keep force buying in.
Depression dhe Kojv pra ishte dyshe e cila e hapi edhe roundin në B-side shumë bukur e gjeti atë kill të parë Sinopsi me një one tap të Diglës së tij, por që në fund ishte lojtari tjetër I cili realizoi atë trade pra Kojv e hapi mundësinë edhe kundërshtari tjetër Depression. 6-5 sikur të ndëruar vetëm një pik larg jemi ekipa jon ndaj armiqve iNation. Sigur se edhe më herët prap në hold këtu në mid me lojtarin Dragon e dy të tjerë në banana. Dragon në kill të flatrës Kojv tek Rigon Kojv në double kill tashmë edhe tek Seneri. GX me vetëm një USB që është e pamundur të gjejë një eliminim. Genci elimino tashmë nga kundërshtari Kindo. Sinopsi me një M4 me vete, por që ka gjallë të gjithë ekipën. Kundërshtari iNation në City, pra ende qëndron Sinopsi, do tentoj të paktën të ketë një double kill Sinqja. E shohim se çka do të ndodhë deri në fund, sepse shumë shpejt do të jetë një rezultat baraz dhe një rikthim I ekipës kundërshtare.
Yeah, it's actually some really solid T-side counter-strike coming through from iNation.
4x3 on both sides, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I think Kinder relayed the information. I think
Sinopsi
he may have seen a pixel. Vaden turned his head.
Nuk arrin të mbjetoj më shumë.
Now, before
Gjithçka e barabartë.
I wouldn't mind a pause from B&E. Little tack pause, but we're having a conversation on the full buy.
Shikues të ndëruar.
In the sense that it's now a very even round for round affair. I like B&E. A little bit of a conversation before heading in towards the next might be something to work with. Good opportunity for Devil Walk to have a little chat, right? See what he can.
Tactical timeout pra është. Timeouti më falni I parë I ekipës sonë Inferno sonte Devil Walk do t'jep edhe një info për një ndryshim të strategjisë, pra na duhet kemi një lojë më të qetë. Në vazhdim e tutje përfundon pra shikues të ndëruar edhe ky timeout. Jemi live. Raundi 13, gjithçka e barabartë, 6-6 rezultati. Dragon tashmë në entry për në banana. Seneri shumë bukur në hold me një molly. Afërti që po shndron edhe Rigon. Loja agresive dhe nga ana kundërshtarëve e shohim Seneri aty dhe Rigon me nga një eliminim të saktë. Thëreshje propa e menjëhershme nga dysha jon pas double eliminimit në afërsi të wallit në banana. E shohim Velden që do të tentojnë ekipa kundërshtare deri në fund për një ekzekutim besoj. Rigon me një tentim për te I smokut nga pozita e Cityse që tashmë ka arrit të kaloj në anën e Senerit.
It's the key thing over on this B side of things, so they're going to try and stack up on top of each other. Technically, you know, you play the numbers game, you will be beating them out 3-on-2.
Blokot. City ama smoke pra po lëshon deri në fund armiqton për një ekzekutim në B side. Është Depression në entry position me AVP është afruar. Shpresojmë që Seneri mos lëviz nga ajo pozit. E shumë mirë tashmë edhe pozita tjetër e Rigon. Do e shohim 25 sekonda Rigon me një tentim. Nuk arrin dyshja jon të gjejë ndonjë kill tjetër. Velden dhe Depression në hapje të raundit prapa atyre. Është Sinopsi që ka arrit të futet në mënyrë të shpejt, por do të jetë rrezik I madh këtu sepse ende në hold qëndron main AWP-ja e ekipës kundërshtare. Vazhdon flatron me një tentim eliminohet nga Velden. Sinopsi me një trade në Kojv 2-2 kjo situatë. Depression shpoton Sinopsin por jo deri në fund. Velden një me një kundër Gencit. GX me një pre-fire tentim ishte Genci, por që nuk arriti të gjejë edhe fitoren e këtij klashi. deri në fund GX e shojmë edhe njëra këtë replay. Në fillim ishim shumë mirë me këtë double eliminim. E pastaj Veldon që arriti eliminimin e parë ndaj Rigonit. E një flick shot ishte edhe nga snajperisti kroat Depression. Vazhdojmë raundin tjetër. 2 raunde larg pas përfundimit të pjesës së parë. Bllokohet midi nga Flatro. Një tentim prej Quintos.
iNation up to that 7 mark. It is going to be just a low buy for B&E. Smart call. They're playing for round 15. But it should allow iNation to guarantee a lead. An 8th at the very least at the half.
Nice find from Juan onto Juan, I should say.
Elimino tashmë edhe Seneri së bashku me Flatran.
Dealing very nicely, they're winning some big rounds here, getting some big moments and really going through the ringer on their favorite map. We did say, you know, the veto is a scary one. BNE maybe should have moved it to a different map. iNation maybe should have been careful with picking into Inferno because BNE are on a streak at the moment. They're looking to end that streak, of course, and so far so good. So far, so good. This is really decisive stuff in the past 2 or 3.
T-side Counter-Strike on towards Inferno is so difficult to get consistent. And right now, iNation is a lovely hot streak. 5 in a row for them. Absolutely flying. And they're just working through the motions as well. It's nothing really too complex. It's very, very fundamental Counter-Strike being played right now where you're taking only better map control, using that to bait out CT utility, and then just relying on the numbers, as we've already spoken about. Playing as this sort of this pack mentality where they know they can just gamble in towards sites, but regardless of who's there, they can just play the trades. Simple stuff, but it's working.
Kemi një ankesë madhe pra nga
They would have heard that.
disa Serb që nuk po i lojnë ekipën e BNS për shkak meje që i kemi lëshu streamin, po ju bojnë presion, po vjen edhe një mesazh i dytë. Pra ju kërkoj shumë falje, na duhet me vazhdu direkt në channelin e Relogit ose të Blastit. Këto e keni lojën shumë më herët. Pra na duhet me nalë streamin, ju kërkoj shumë falje, por që më mirë t'jenë ma rahat edhe djemt e të fitojnë lojën ma easy. Pra në Twitch, në sërë që keni Relog ose në Blast Premier Official.
Oh, there's the first. Nice shot, Kindo. He started off the round in a rough space, taking a lot of Molotov damage, and one Flatro can't convert it to a second, but surely enough.
Looks like he has done enough damage. Vlad, I'm going to move in through the apartments, just going dry. Not going to happen for him. 20 seconds. And a 1v4 will not happen. 8-7 at the turn of the half. A hell of a lot closer than we were expecting. A hell of a T-side coming in from iNation. Can they keep it up into the second half, though? That is the biggest question of the day so far. BNE will now be looking to dictate where the battles happen. And they are very, very good at that. So I do worry for iNation. Will 8 be enough?
You know, so far we've seen some cracking Counter-Strike from iNation. And usually, more often than not, we talk about the CT side being the preferred side, regardless of the map. Even maps like Anubis, which generally at the moment actually is T-sided. Teams still like to start on the CT just because it's comfortable. But right now, yes, it was good from iNation. They've got a lead. They've got a buffer zone to work with. However, B&E on T sides, we know what this side is all about. They are so aggressive in their mentality. They're all about taking early fights, all about relying on individuals stepping up, the likes of your Rigons, your GXX, one Flasher and Synopsy. And even Cedric has his moments, to be fair to him. B&E are such an aggressive side. The T side is their forte. And that does, you know, it makes me worry just a tad.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit. I think it's going to be a difficult one here. You know, again, it's brought the competition, which in these best of ones can be very difficult to deal with. They're down. They're out. They're force buying. They're back and I don't know that we're going to get that kind of crazy vacillation into this second half, to be honest with you. I feel like there is, you know, a lot more sense to be made once the pistol comes down. And if it gets converted this time around, right? I think that was sort of the big thing. BNE got off to a very strong start in the first half, but just let things slip away from them. And I think they will be kicking themselves in that front. They got caught up in the force by chaos. Timeout comes in. Maybe it's a bit late. So
I think, to be honest, the big thing that you were talking about, which I think is the real telling point, was how iNation won the force by battles, right? It was so scrappy. The way you put it, it was chaotic, right? Messy, really scrappy Counter-Strike. And normally, actually, that plays into BNE's, you know, play style. As you mentioned, very aggressive. They like taking those fights, but the way in which you mentioned about them getting caught up, you could see, right? They needed that pause. And maybe even for the likes of Everwalk calling it, you know, a couple of rounds earlier, making sure they actually play for an eco, have a full investment before taking it back towards iNation, because they were going in with kind of one rifle, a few pistols, and trying to constantly compete against full buys. It's just never a nice position to be in at all. For BNE, that's how they lost the lead. They were 6-4 up and things were okay. 6-3 up, in fact. And then they lost to an eco and then tried to bounce back with force buys, and it was round for round for a little bit, but iNation walked away with the success and basically off the back of it the half. You know, just waiting to get back underway. Right now, hopefully, our tech issues can be sorted in just a second, and then we are all good to go. Either way, great little game we're getting so far. iNation, potentially another upset on the cards here, but I'm not going to get too ahead of myself. It's still very even.
Well, I think what we're going to have to do, unfortunately, Neo, is take a break on this one at the end of the day. I think there is a little bit of an issue that we've got to sort out, folks. So we are just going to take a quick break, just a short one. Make sure you stick with us and we'll be back.
Jam të ju bo presion shumë t'jem. Bani sa ma shumë lojka, sa ma shumë suba. E po ata vetë gjuhë që u du t'ilu me nojnë lojnë që i kam bo presion. Inshallah fitojnë, gjithë. është e para loja t'jem. Mapi parë është. Gjoci e noli live-in, se i kam po presion. I kam po presion shkit. E shkit e nonës.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back in. We are here, of course, to get back underway with the game. Short technical issue there. Thank you very much for bearing with
Ja
me.
nisi, djemi, ja nisi.
It is, of course,
And
the
shoot.
8-7 at the turn of the half.
Po është pak për mastering me.
Kindo here, trying to get aggressive down middle, going to get his head taken clean off by
Dhe kam
BNE.
barazu
This
non.
T-side campaign starts off very, very well, and they are not showing any signs of slowing down. Depression the next to fall. And only 3 remain. There is some defense in on the A bomb side, quite a lot of defense actually. The great flash that comes in for Vladen to work with, but they are trapped away in towards the apartments area. Troy trying to, give them some space to work with here. Flash comes in. They are very apprehensive though. Just got to try and get out at the end of the day, and that is no mean feat. Just going to be dragon left, and he's not able to find more than just one, so it will be the pistol going the way of BNE.
Off the rack of a pause and a break coming through, iNation cooled off just a tad. And that being said, it's BNE to start things off well. We were kind of hesitant about coming in towards the second half and how things are going to pan out, right? In a way where we were talking about, if iNation can't keep up this sort of form, if they can't keep up this sort of control, things could get dicey because BNE love a T-side. We know they do. Well. They start off very, very well indeed. First round going their way. It means that they've got money to work with. But it isn't quite the same for iNation. Just the old MP9 and a few pistols is going to make this a very difficult affair. But we've already seen how impactful the Force by Wars can be.
That is incredibly true. Yeah, we'll see whether it affects things here, whether we're going to get that crazy back and forth that we had in the first half or not. Flash comes in. No one around to really see it, though. Couple of nades down range. This one could do some damage here. It will indeed. And we've got GXX left on 8 HP. Great return. Flash coming in. 2 quick kills for Kindo. Uh-oh. It's happening. There is pressure out towards mid. Juan Flacho has wormed his way in and indeed figuring out that maybe they're stacking towards the B side. He finds one. Rigon very unsure of short, but it looks like they've got themselves some good control to work with here, and they have just managed to creep past that boiler stack that came in. Choif goes down trying to retrieve a weapon. Kindo looking to find more on the 5-7. Where's the bomb going? It's actually wrapping towards B here. Really smart idea, and they are wrestling back into this round. The AK at range beats out Vladen, and just Dragon remaining then against all 3. It started so well. It's gone south fast. Synopsy with the off angle gets bested. Hell of a nice shot coming in from Dragon. Going to need a few more of those if he's to take this round. That is for sure. He's got a couple smokes to work with here. He's actually got loads of smokes to work with.
He does, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. 1 on the belt, 2 down range here to just try and pull off some kind of a retake, but he's not fancying his chances and will just back away and give them the round.
There we go. Calling it. Giving it up. I don't mind it in a way, right? He's got a little to work with. He's already managed to get himself a nice little consolation kill. Silver lining. Small little bits coming through. But all in all, it's BNE continuing under their control, under their kind of circumstances where they're dictating the pace quite well. Like you mentioned, it started very, very well for iNation. Kindo for the double, the 5-7. Things were looking a little bit scrappy. And then it all fell apart, and BNE were able to claw things back in their favor, and the seat off a 9th with relative ease. And they'll know as well that it was a somewhat hefty investment for iNation coming through, so they will have, once again, a little bit of a middling buy heading in towards this one. So, BNE, realistically, double digits is on the cards for them. iNation, that gap's starting to build.
Nice move coming in from iNation, though, with the boost on the angle to take out Synopsy. Got some armor on Kindo as well to make sure that, the Galil stays in good hands. So not a bad start for iNation once again.
One flash out. Lurking in towards deep apps as always, hoping for an overextension. Right now, not being given too much. Flash will come through, and it's going to cost GXX his life. And Senary too, hang on. The awkward buy, the pretty low buy for iNation. This is not even a forced investment. Is looking on top. It's 2 versus 4.
Still, though, the A-bomb site pretty weakly defended here. 5-7 and a USP. USP finds a frag. Can it get another, though? It's Rigon, half HP, closing the gap. Does get taken down a bit lower. So surely with 2 retrieve rifles, it should be enough for iNation to work with. Rigon's going to get the bomb plant, but, I mean, they want to be winning the round here, absolutely. Both coming in together via short. Rigon going to have to go nuclear. Oh, there it is. The boost up coming in. He spots one. Is he ready for the second? He's not quite ready. Double peek, and they'll take him. Oh, iNation have done it with hardly anything invested into the round. BNE, again, will be kicking themselves, letting these silly rounds slip away from them.
Just can't be losing those, really. I mean, that's one of those ones. You know, a couple of kills, yes, all well and good, right? We saw it happen towards the previous round. And the opener, fair enough, a nice little boost, nets the first. But everything just crumbles for BNE. You can sort of see how this side kind of had a little bit of control, and then they started to slip away from them. And iNation just set up a really nice setup coming through for them. Yes, there's the positives of course, a bomb plant comes through, and all of those situations are very, very nice indeed. But even still, those are the sort of rounds that you just cannot be losing. They open the door right back up for iNation once again. The buy for BNE, middling. Right off the back on Eco, they're swinging it in. Kindo, the MVP of the previous round, will kickstart things for one, but only.
Choiv, gonna get rid of that rifle. Oh, nice find from Vladan there onto one Flatcher, left very low. Indeed, the AWP gonna chime in here. Easy stuff. The nades have softened them up. That should be the round going the way of iNation. Then there was some hiccup at the start, but ultimately, this is the way that it pans out. And Scenario going to try around the corner onto the AWP. If they could beat the AWP, it would be quite something. Nice shot. 2v1 on the site itself. And an AWP retrieve for GXX in the perfect hands. He does go down. Where's the other player coming from? Scenario on the Deagle. Gonna get the bomb plant. No, he's not. The bomb, the nade is perfect. I thought he'd still have it, that nade, you know, above him, right? The nades can be really, really difficult to predict how they're going to do damage. Yeah. Still, iNation moving up to 10, taking the lead.
Yeah, it's a good round, actually. It's pretty comfortable for iNation, which is what matters most, right? Get that control, keep it in their favor, but make sure there's not really kind of too much on implementation coming through from BNE on that low middling buy. Loving that shot from Vladan as well. One flash show, nothing you can do there. It's fortune, but it favors the bold. iNation first side to hit 10 in that double digit. That's being said. BNE now the full response, and that was just an eco, just a low buy. In comes the full one of their own. And an AWP in play, the challenge, the pressure, but it's really gone for the first.
That's fine, getting aggressive, looking to burst off the back of that as well. They're going very fast in here. Good nade. We'll see a bit of smoke in the way, actually, for Rigon, so maybe it's not a good nade from the T side. They've bolstered the defense on the B bomb side. They're still looking to hit this B side of things on the BNE end. And there's a lot of bodies here. Going to boost up as well. Depression does eat a nade, as does Dragon. So we'll see. It's going to be a tough take. There's one up on the boost. Should be good indeed to secure a kill and just drop back off. It's kind of all over the place from BNE right now. iNation getting the 1v1 so they want. Choiv goes completely unchecked. Just Scenario left on this bomb site itself. Meanwhile, there is Juan Flatcher on the lurking presence, but I don't know what he's going to be able to find. Surely they'll all just move around to where this bomb is at the moment. That looks to be the case. The bomb has been retrieved. The plant will come in. Oh, no, actually backing away. Because of how deep Juan Flatcher is able to get in towards the A bomb site, they're able to pull that bomb out. Juan Flatcher to keep him guessing, finds a head, brings it back into a 2 versus 2. This is what BNE are capable of.
This is huge. Juan Flatcher single-handedly turning this round right on its head. One will go down. Planted by Senary, and now how does the post-spawn set itself up? Did he go for deep-rooted? Or they stick around and try and play for the trades? They've got no real idea where iNation can come from. They know they can come from both mid and CT. They'll be aware of this. So they're hoping to buy as much time as they can, wanting towards Grave. That's going to be the huge factor coming through as Juan Flatcher tucks his head. Got a lot of time. It's working for BNE quite nicely. I think this round should be there. Spotting out Dragon. A lovely shot. And the pressure going to call it. In a 1 versus 2 with the time so far ticked. That is the round going the way of BNE. And they're going to find their 10th round on the board. That is a brilliant turnaround. From what was a round lost, essentially. One flat throw and 1 kill in towards Library. And opens back up again. A huge, huge round for BNE to pick up. They tie this game right back up. Most importantly, just make sure that iNation don't run away with the lead on the CT side.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. That's the mid-rounding we were talking about, how, you know, thick and fast they can play the rounds there on the BNE side of things. Will be their first rifle picked up as well. Not in super dominant fashion. iNation immediately calling for a timeout. Like this idea. Like this idea a lot. But what is it?
Quiet.
Yeah, what is it they talk about, though? I think, you know, how do we work things out on the iNation side? They don't have a lot of cash to work with. They're going to try and buy around the AWP, but really not looking good here.
No, I'd agree. I
Yeah, well,
think
het
this is a
weet je
very
met
difficult
delay.
conversation.
So dat
It's
komt
a
direct
very
op
crucial swing
direct
round.
uw
Right?
YouTube.
Take this,
Van het weet
and
je.
essentially you break the economy of the other side.
maar
That's the
delay.
big factor here. We've got the likes of iNation in a position where for them,
Je moet hoe
yes,
voor
it's a full
moment
investment. They've got nothing left in the back pocket, but they're bringing in a UMP and an MP9. Not exactly a dream and taking so much damage. Regan and Synopsy will kickstart things with a U2. And hang on a second, I think Kindo's in trouble. He knows it. He would somehow get on a dodge. But they are being peppered over towards B.
Yeah, quad nade. 2 on car. 2 on the half wall spot. Quad nades coming in from BNE to kick the round off. Looking again towards this B bomb site. Not really giving the game away just yet. They've got barely any utility to work with, as they have expunged it all in Banana. Depression trained in. No flash to get him off. This could be really deadly to deal with. This could be really deadly indeed. Side smoke going to come in. Looking to play around that. Depression still sticking to this angle. Lurking presence will be deployed as Synopsy starts to bail out, but it looks like they are moving in the AWP. Good for one. Kindo on high with this MP7. Molotov comes in from the CT side to keep them at bay, and they're just going to have to bail and go for a try A play. He was hoping to get some rotators. Synopsy denied away, and it looks very, very solid here, this hold, to be honest with you. Vladen hidden away in the corner. Good for 1, 2. Easy stuff for Vladen and just Scenario remaining. They'll all go down to Vladen. iNation move up to 11.
This is a tight game. We said that was a swing round. That's a very important round to swing the kind of momentum back in favor of iNation, and a round for round affair. Breaking that T-side economy is huge, especially considering how bad things started off. The nades coming through from Rigon and Synopsy finding the first, and everything was looking set up for B&E, but just time got the better of them. They're less than 30 seconds and no real control through either site. Really well played from iNation. Oh, nice for the opener. The pressure. He's so quick. He's hitting a couple of shots. He's feeling confident. And B&E are starting to hit a couple of nice bangers. These is getting problematic.
Rounds are really slipping away now. B&E, I think, not in a good spot. Not in a good spot at all. The buy into the next round is going to be terrible. Oh, man, this is really difficult to play from. iNation are just, you know, not walking on water quite yet, but they're getting close to it. 2 or 3 more rounds in their favor, and they will indeed look super, super strong. Ooh, collapse for Depression.
No.
Lovely stuff. He's just going to mow them all down. An ace coming in for Depression. Plus the collapse.
Nuk mundi me këshirë që tërkon atje, veç mundi me këshirë rezultatin për shembull në LTV. Aty janë të e po rezultatin. Se tjetër nuk e qetë. Ku ta këshirë që ki me delay për mas.
Depression had a cracking round though. Isolating fights really nicely. Gets a little bit fortunate as well with the collat. You take him. You will take anything. iNation is getting the lead to 2. 12 to 10, and things are starting to get a little bit uncomfortable over towards B&E. This is the moments where you call upon the experience of them playing at that upper echelon. You call upon the experience of Devil Walk, a fantastic coach who we know can make a difference. And see if he can try to piece apart the puzzle here. The buy somewhat middling in the sense that the utility is so lacking, Scream. I mean, look what they've got. A few flashes and a couple of smokes. It's not exactly a dream.
They struggled the last time out with the lack of utility as well, so it's again going to plague them into this round, and it's aggressive stance coming from iNation. They've got 4 on the A bomb site ready to fend off against this hit. Flash comes round. Great find from Depression. They're going to get ahead of all these smokes as well, just coming in from short. Very easy to deal with the setup that's here. Depression on the AWP continues to frag. What is happening? Synopsy in towards the site. The counter flash is so sound. In comes Kindo through the smoke, and he will be the one to end the round. One Flatro dealt with, and iNation, they are within touching distance of the victory.
It's looking like it. A 3-round lead they hold, but 3 more is all they need to see this one in their favor. I was just about to say I want a man of balls coming through from B&E. This is getting very close. It's a knife's edge right now where everything is panning out for our nation the way that we'd be hoping. And to be honest, there's one man who we really have to continue to talk about, Depression. Yes, he gets an ace in towards the previous round, but he opens things up, finds that first. Over towards short, and it just really shell shocks over towards B&E, where they just don't know where to approach their foe. What a game we are seeing here. Potentially back-to-back upsets as well on the cards here. Having B&E versus Eternal Fire in the lower bracket would be a monstrous game to come through, and I'm 99% sure that most of us would not have predicted it. We came in towards this game both saying B&E heavy favorites. They're a super solid Inferno side with a 5-map winning streak. And my, oh my, are they being pushed the full distance. iNation's 24 maps played on Inferno in the last 3 months really paying off in dividends right now.
Insane. Absolutely insane stuff. Another upset on the cards here, very decisively so. Earlier, man alive, we saw Eternal Fire go down. Now we're going to see BNE under threat, under heavy threat of going down themselves. And that is not the elimination game that I was expecting, to say the least. Craziness. They've got little space to work with to try and claw this game back. And it starts in the next round. Smoke bugged ever so slightly under the ground there. Love to see it.
Spam coming through. Dragon catching a big kill on towards Senori. A super important one as well. This is messy. Very messy. Varnation. Man advantage Troy on the fadeaway as well. Finding yet another pistol's being put to rest. They're 6 feet under. And flawlessly it's looking like, unless Rigon can do a bit of magic, but he'll be seeing off a flawless round for iNation up to 14. Super important now. This is getting scrappy.
All to play for then in these rounds. One more, and it feels like iNation might get it done. Their CT side so far has been impenetrable. Some really dominant rounds coming in from them. And BNE, we talked about the predictability. We talked about, you know, the aggression being the only thing that they know how to make work. And again, like Eternal Fire, they're being read. They're being prepped for, and it shows. And this is what happens, BO1s. You don't give the respect across. The upsets can occur. Juan Flacho, a long fight, but he wins it against Vladan.
This is the round. This is the important one. Dragon being tagged down. May intentionally have been hurt as well. Potentially, may I say. Senori finding Dragon is the important kill, though. He will catch him. Down to 3 in iNation. Everything starting to pan out. We call upon Depression, but he gets caught tunnel vision in towards apartments. And I think now it might just be a call to save early for iNation. Coming through, Rigon going to have a look for a little bit more damage. A couple more kills in the tally could be huge. B&E are going for a big hunt here. It's kind of risky though. They don't have a lot of money when Flatro will fall. But still they circle.
Yeah, Rigon, got to be careful, man. It becomes costly. It's now maybe a battle of survival for him. He gets forced out and taken down. Only 2 of them remain. That indeed is going to affect the buy into the next round, folks. So really, not questionable necessarily, but risk averse from BNE, and it will cost them quite massively. Getting some kill bonuses across for these 2 very rich players who are going to be able to drop, particularly the AWP to Depression. So you can see it makes a big difference, especially on this comeback train that BNE are now on.
Dragon gets very unfortunate, I've got to say, falling that way. iNation, couple of kills. Is a silver lining, but it's of course only that. B&E, that was a very, very important round. A somewhat needed round, but I feel like where we stand now in this game, every round is so needed. I mean, even still, yes, they're finding success. Yes, they're getting a couple more rounds on the board and chipping away the deficit, but even still, in terms of financially, there's no comfort there. Lose this round, could be iNation on 15 with B&E struggling to buy in to stop them. That's the thing that makes things oh so problematic. This is not even technically a swing round either, because iNation still have money in arrears off the back of their full buy. Very, very important round for B&E. They've got to get 2 consecutively now if they want any chance of getting comfort and potential to see us off in regulation. Of course, maybe the big OT might be needed. 14-11 though, and that 3-round buffer still in favor of iNation. And depression. GXX read him like a book.
Aggression punished. Is it something that iNation necessarily need to go for? They're still in control, but they feel control slipping away from them, maybe wrongfully so. Not entirely sure. Early rings coming off here. Oh, Kindo gonna find Synopsy. The trade comes back in. 4 versus 4. Bomb headed towards A. They're pretty ready for it. They know that Long's going to be vulnerable here, though, thanks to the kill on towards Depression. Dragon creeping in, looking to catch with nade in hand. Might get away with it. He finds 2. Vladen behind him, set him up perfectly. Absolutely wonderful stuff coming through. Rigon has got this long control. Juan Flacho's found Vladen, and down goes Choiv into the 2-on-2, but there's a player still towards the site end of things. It's going to be Dragon. He's going to give that control away and allow them the site, but Kindo goes wide. Scrappy fights. And they will be punished for it. A 2v2, especially with no Moto Smoke, looked very doable. And now it is Dragon to do everything here. He can't get it done. Huge round coming in for BNE, and they bring it within 2.
That's massive. That is so needed. This is what B&E can do. They can claw a game back in their favor. No problems asked. This is huge from them. And it all started off so well. And it goes back to something you were talking about, Squid. Do iNation need to go for those sort of peaks? Those sort of aggressive, plays down mid? I would argue not. Maybe, but if we see Depression, not go for that sort of play a little bit more passive. But the rest of the round pans out the way it did. It could have flipped the other way, and iNation could be sitting on 15 right now, but instead, they're sitting on a grim buy of Choiv in towards the M4A. And aside from that, that's all they've really got. Deep nades coming through, bit of tag damage coming forward as well. Choiv will be caught by the flash. Rigon has crossed, and Rigon read him like a book. Deleted. And he swings in front of the smoke as well. Going to try and find another Kindo on the trade. But they've crossed towards site.
They're in. Kindo not ready and will get taken down. Synopsy with the big frag of the round, dropping that rifle. So it will probably just be a save coming in from the other 3 on this A bomb site. BNE having to work for this. And so they should. I mean, iNation moving up to 14 should never happen. They're starting to feel things fall through their fingers, though, and I think they will. Panic going to set in. This is where the inexperience really makes a difference. Time going to tell. They'll lose another on the way out. AK's looking to hunt, but not too deep. Don't want to lose their guns either and give them away. But still looking for these frags. Yeah,
that's true. That is true. Just looking to see if they can make it any, even a little bit expensive on the way out. Maybe scoop up a rifle or so. Vladen. Talk. Well, there's one kill. Depression. Are you going to grab the gun? No. Going to opt against it. Either way, not actually too bad. A little kill coming through. It is a round in which you don't expect anything really from iNation. Maybe the boosted player, we could have asked a little bit more of them. He spotted the arm. I wondered why he was so trained in on that boosted angle. It makes sense. The elbow was spotted on the corner. Also, Rigon. It's just pretty damn crisp. B&E breathing down the neck of iNation now. And my, oh my, Scriff, we've got a game on our hands. This one could go down to the wire and potentially even and some.
Certainly could, but we'll see. It's going to get tough. It's going to get very tough indeed. Flash comes around. Depression with a big frag. Or contact Flash. Depression's actually found both of them there. Big fights being won by the AWP. Nade going to come in. Decent damage. And they're able to back away relatively scot-free. Another nade as well. Leaves Scenario and GXX down and out. Not looking good at all. Flash comes round and blinds Depression massively. Just going to be Kindo on the site itself. They're trying to work with the time, trying to get themselves in here. Kindo, though, up above, will find one. Juan Flatro with the move round is able to take him down. 3 versus 2 with the UMP here pretty quickly. Big gaps in these smokes, but maybe that's what they're looking to play around. BNE and particularly GXX. Going contact, it is Choiv to win the fight with the UMP, though. Can you believe it? And now just Juan Flatro, the only one left. Nothing left to speak of. just Juan Flatro 50% HP. They know vaguely where he's going to be at. There's only a few spots that he could be at this point. They don't have any nadage to flush him out. He finds one smoke going to go down, buy him a bit of space here. They've got to come in together. Oh, no, it's nearly found. Is there enough time on the defuse? I'm not sure. It's going to be awfully close here. There's no kit for Dragon. There's no kit for Dragon. I think he just has it over the line, though, by the looks of things. This is so close. He's just got it just before it turns white. 15 for iNation.
Jesus, that's close. Credit as well, Juan Flatro in towards New Box. He gives it a good effort. In a 1 versus 3, half a second more. We've got a completely different story there. But of course, we don't. It is going to be iNation up to 15. Mapping by a technicality series point and the best of one in their favor. And another upset on the cards here in Group B. And that would knock B&E down into the lower bracket game against Eternal Fire. A rematch of what we saw over towards the CCT LAN finals. My, oh my. What a storyline developing here. B&E now playing for OT if they want to take this best of one and remain in the upper bracket.
Unbelievable. Truly unbelievable. Really scary stuff coming in from the likes of Dragon and the boys. And one last Hail Mary for BNE is all they've got in the tank. No utility. It's simple A stuff coming out. Synopsy will get Dragon off of the top angle. It is, again, a weakened defense coming in. Decent nade down range. Will be the first kill onto Vlad, and Choiv also going to fall on the flank. Dragon can't do anything. And BNE simply, but successfully, make their way in towards A.
Yeah, that bomb going down's huge. Oh my gosh, GXX. Zeeks. Well, Kinder knows where he is. Kinder going to find one, opting for the pistol. Unfortunately, running out of ammo in the FAMAS. There was potentially an opportunity to make it a little bit more expensive on the way up, but the depression will park up. So BNE push it to 14. What a game we're getting here. What a game. But the most important thing to me, Scriv, look bottom right. Look at the funds. They're not good. BNE going to poke around for a little hunt as well. GXX will fall to the hands of the Depressions. The AWP, at least remaining alive. No one else nearby to test his waters. And he will stay afloat. My, oh my. I feel like overtime's needed here. These two sides inseparable, but BNE just got the slightly better funds to work with. The buy on their side too. There's a little bit of loss bonus for iNation to work with, but I don't think it's all too formidable. So realistically speaking, the buy could be pretty middling with her in towards the likes of FAMASs. And yeah, it is going to be exactly that. FAMAS for Vladden, Dragon, Kindo, and Choiv just pistols. I think we're going to need an extra set of rounds to see this one off. The full 30 may not be enough.
Deserving of an overtime, of course. You know, that is exactly what we want from this game. But at the same time, we'll see what the move is. It's once again the heavy utility barrage that comes through. Flashes are effective. 1-for-1 trade, not quite good enough. It's going to give some of that control across that the CT side wanted, and Choiv tried to get out. He burns to the Molotov, but they're backing off. They're looking towards A, and this is where the big guns are. I'd say you just gamble on this, to be honest with you. Get that pistol across and just hope for the best, but no indication as yet. As soon as that smoke comes in, maybe the rotation. They are not moving fast, though. Depression going to find one. The rest of them through the apartments. They hear 2 sets of footsteps. 3 versus 3 directly. Oh, and Depression's moving away with the AWP. They've been read. The panic has set in. Really smart move. It looks a bit like a lurk, doesn't it? It does just a bit, but we'll see. Depression going to go info gathering towards Banana, and they don't really spot anything there. Very, very slow from BNE, winding the clock down as much as possible. Going to see, yeah, that there's no one around. It'll be an upgraded weapon coming in, so it's quick from Banana. They're going to have to get out now and abuse Vladen. Vladen needs at least one from this position. He's hidden away at the back end of the site. This is easier said than done. Smoke goes down. Should allow for the bomb plant. You can see just how timid both sides are. Depression goes flying around the corner with an AK. Not able to find it. GXX picks up Vladan, and now it'll just be Dragon, who's late. Can't deny the bomb plant. Can't find a frag, and overtime is indeed needed.
Massive from BNE. So deserved as well. Their T side has found that form that we were hoping of them. What an even game. It was as even as it possibly could be, 8-7 at the half. And of course, once again, we need more rounds. The full 30 in regulation is not enough for what has been an absolute banger of a game. These two sides just on another level right now. But iNation, I think they'll be kicking themselves. There are plenty of opportunities to see off this map, see themselves into the upper brackets, and take on VOYVODA. But it's not to be, and we need more. Now we head towards overtime. And the magic number 19 is our first port of call. Credit to B&E though. What a performance, and then to turn things back in their favor. It was already looking done and dusted, dead in the water. And somehow, some way, they found a second win. Where it looked like iNation were running on fumes. Hopefully for them, they're able to rekindle a bit of that flame as we get OT started in just a second. Oh my God, what a game we're getting here. We're being treated as some cracking Counter-Strike.
Yeah, absolutely, man. This is really what we wanted, you know. We weren't expecting too much of a competition out from this one, but B&E definitely not bringing their A-tier game to this. And I think they will be very disappointed that it, you know, has come all the way, but at the same time, they'll be happy that they were able to scrape it back and not lose in regulation. So it's a mixture of emotions at the moment for both sides as well. iNation, what, 14-11 they were up? Feeling like they probably should have cleaned it out with a scoreline like that. You just have to forget about all that now. The game comes back to the neutral when we're in the overtime. You have to make sure that you don't let regulation come into your head. And the one big thing is the money, right? We've yet to see an overtime out, so I'm not 100% sure how much money we're going to have for these teams. But ultimately, you get all that cash injection. iNation will have less to worry about in that sense.
No, that's the big one. And it's going to be the question coming through. And we just get another way in just a second. It's a toilet break. Not a toilet break coming through before we get the show back on the road. So, overtime is needed. A good opportunity for us and the players as well to have a little break. You know, have a little breather. It has been some electric Counter-Strike up to this point. But we are ready to rock and roll. B&E, of course, continuing on that T side where they found some really good form in the late stages. And surely that could be enough for them to continue heading in towards overtime. iNation, they need to find some magic. I found a little bit of form because these last few rounds have been pretty dire for them.
Jemi të fitu për momentit, jam. Hajde ketë like, hey. Hajde ketë like me djeki.
Well, here we go. It will, by all accounts, be the 12.5, the going rate at this point. Couple nades ring down range, do some decent damage to kick us off in the overtime. Nothing too much as of yet. Once again, you know, just keeping the attention on the A-bomb site.
Well, bit of that utility being dropped in towards top mid. A triple stack, technically, if you count Vladden as well, in here. Kindo playing anti, the AWP playing contact. This is going to get messy the second the util drops in.
When is that second, though? That's the question. Kindo goes hunting for information, comes away with a kill, gets loads of info for them to work with. The trades are good from the T side, though, bringing it back into a 2 versus 2 doable round. Rotation's going to come round from the CT side, slowly but surely. They've been firmly smoked out, and they might just get cheeky, going to try and boost above it, and it would be a great idea here. Bomb plant going to come in. They can't deny it. Can't spot anyone. GXX will be spotted. Can he be finished? No, he can't. Just escapes. They'll be kicking themselves that they do not find that frag. It looked like it was up on a platter for them. GXX blinded up. Molotov comes in. Meanwhile, Juan Flatro goes so fast here around the other side that he doesn't even believe that he's able to get away with it. Crazy stuff. Choi's not picked up the kit. Who's going to try and go for a quick one onto the bomb. Smoke goes down. Fight comes in. Can't quite find it. Left very low. Going to go for the hold here. Surely Juan Flatro finds him. The bullets all around, but eventually one does land. And just by the skin of his teeth, Juan Flatro will find 16 for B&E.
That's huge. We talk about, you know, over towards B&E. The likes of your Rigons, your Juan Flatros can all step up in terms of their hero role. And while, yes, GXX has been a little bit quiet. Synopsis, the IGLs are not really looking towards him in terms of the fragging department. Juan Flatros making up for it. 29 and 18. He has been emphatic. Kinder's had a lot of impact. I've got to give him credit. You know, he continuously is making B&E uncomfortable. And if he had found a second there, I think he wins the round individually. They're all if buts and maybes. B&E take the first round on OT. And get ever closer to that 90. They're continuing the good run of form on that T side as well. Which, as we mentioned, it just feels like it's B&E's side. They're such a T-sided team, but for such a good reason.
And they will have been here many times, right? The pressure on overtime is something that they will not be foreign to, is the big thing. So I think that they are very prepared for this, and it's showing. It's really showing. Solid stuff. As they keep putting up the numbers and keep putting up the frags, they've got the banana control in this round so far with the nades round the corner. Good damage done to some of the A players. They'll be happy with how this is panning out.
Oh, Choif, looking like he might be the first point of contact as he spammed the smokes. Gets caught by the flash. Depression going to be tested. Missed shot as well. That might cost him his life. A couple of missed shots too. Uncharacteristic from Depression, but he will fall.
Still Kindo at the back of the site. Still got to deal with him. What can he come away with? Nothing at all. GXX drops Dragon on the backside, and now Vladen with a deep smoke is kept firmly at bay. Will find one. Taken down to very low indeed. Follows the traces to pick up Rigon. So he's given this his best try, and it's not looking too bad so far, but a lot of levels to get through. They'll smoke him off once again. Where does he go? He's trying to find something through the smoke. It's just not going to happen for him. Onto the AK. You don't really save in overtime. You might as well keep on trying here, but Vladen, unfortunately, with the bomb ticking so low, it's just not going to happen for him. The fight's not coming his way, and he's just sort of forced to save as his only option, really.
Yeah.
And that'll be 17 for B&E. They are actually stringing them together pretty massively from regulation.
Yeah, they are. They're doing really, really good work. If you can consider, as you mentioned, those latter stages of that second half, and then where we stand now, this has been a really good T-side run of form. B&E are in control massively, and iNation falling apart. I'm not liking where we stand right now. iNation, they should have seen this off already, and the fact that now we're at this point with B&E got the gap to work with a 2-round lead. They're only 2 rounds away as well from seeing off overtime. iNation will be kicking themselves. To be so far, so close yet so far is a horrible predicament. Credit to B&E. As you mentioned, they've been in this position time and time again. They're on a 5-map winning streak, looking to make it 6, but Kindo is flying down mid. Look at the space he's got. A great flash for 1 and for the second as well. I spoke about Kindo's impact. There it is.
Massive stuff to maybe give iNation their first round. Juan Flatro going to find him. Big fight for Dragon. And catches Rigon trying to lurk around. 4 versus 2. And they are firmly kept at bay with how deep those frags came in. They just have no options. They really don't have anywhere that they can go that's safe, to be honest. We'll see. Choiv on high. Ready for the smoke to dissipate. Loses the fight. And he is the lone B defender, so they're going to get themselves in towards the B bomb site. What a thing this would be if they could find it. Is there a CT smoke available? I don't think. Okay, they got it down as I was looking across, so there is one there. Nice nade to do some damage. However, the bomb plant, oh, it's so close. He will spot the head eventually. And so just Juan Flatro against 3 would be a hell of a clutch. If he could find this, goes through the smoke, gets 1, but Depression finds him on the way out. And that'll be iNation finding 16. So not the death sentence of the 3-0, but still down by a round.
And funny enough as well, OT panning out in the kind of the same fashion that we saw over towards regulation. Both sides, well, so far, B&E are slightly better on the T side, but it's very even. 2-1. Reminder as well, it was 8-7 for both teams. They got 8 rounds on the T side, 7 on the CT to get us towards this point. Can iNation bounce back and continue this run of form? It's a great round, that really is. Kindo, I've been loving his impact. He is single-handedly at times been pulling this side to success, and the pressure, of course, for the AWP, hitting a lovely couple of shots. And Vladen, every now and again, when we ask of him, he'll guarantee his kill. 29 and 20, he currently stands. Second overall in terms of the leaderboard, just behind Juan Flatcher's on 31. He hit that 30 bomb. B&E need 2 rounds on CT to see off the map. iNation needed to be flawless unless they find 2 and push it towards double OT.
Yeah, iNation definitely have the work cut out for them at the end of the day. B&E, though, back on the CT side. Been a while since they were here. And they found a lot of success with, just playing the usual kind of game. Very standard counter-strike coming in from them, whereas we saw iNation with a lot more aggression, a lot more of the gamble stacks. So BNE, like I say, much more standard kind of gameplay from them. Interestingly, no team as yet has gone for a double-up setup. It's something that, you know, I thought we would have seen by now with how many rounds of counter-strike we've had.
True. Very true. Especially considering as well that GXX, he's been a little bit quiet, maybe kind of alleviate a bit of the pressure by having a double orb to kind of help him just lock off a little bit, kind of, you know, fewer angles that he's so cautious of. Nade's coming through. Right now, no real decision. They've got control towards top mid and towards top B. So at the moment, our nation kind of go either way.
Very quiet here in the mid-round. They're just winding that clock down, looking to execute out onto a bomb site. Late smoke comes in, going to keep Vlad in a bay. He doesn't really have the option. Then in come the smokes. There's only two. They rotated one away. They thought it was going to be a B end. It's not a B end. Flash comes around for the orb. Nothing coming. In on the site. Nothing coming. Down goes GXX and iNation with a statement round here as they burst out on towards A, easily making their way through the defenses.
Well, what do? I mean, trying to get a little retake here is so difficult. There's no point in saving. And Flatcher parked up towards library, hoping.
Djem, GG, që të rëndë fitum. GG për shqipe tona, hajde ketë like, me po, hajde sa ma shumë like, Djem. Sa ma shumë like, ata shofin edhe tjerë.
Back turned as well, advised against his Kindo's round the corner. Might still be a flawless round for them, and it will. A flawless round for iNation to tie this game up. That's a statement. We haven't seen iNation on the T side for quite a while, but they've come into it for the first time in, what was that, like 18 rounds? And it looks as fresh as ever.
Very worrying signs for BNE that they can't even make it competitive. You know, they obviously throw everything at it because they've got the cash to work with. But it will be difficult for them if they lose this round. You can see the money's gone down, and especially for GXX, it's way in the bin. So a lot of worrying signs coming in, if you ask me. iNation, this game now feels like it's swung back in their favor ever so slightly. You know, when you get to overtime, it's these little tit-for-tat moments that really make the difference, and that is one of them. A flawless opening T round is just so good.
Molotov does a little bit of damage on towards Dragon, but it's not exactly a problem. Right now, 17 apiece, and they're just staying far clear of the nades. Only really Depression has taken any sort of noticeable damage where he has to be concerned, but of course, Yorpa. Doesn't matter. I have a little peeking towards Banan. I'd advise against it, but GXX gonna fall off the angle. Probably the smart decision too. He gets caught by the flash.
Easy pickup so far. Slow and easy once again. Rig on. Out towards mid, going to be the first defender. Flash comes around. He doesn't spam, he takes a little bit himself, but he had the pick of the crop on that spam. Just decides not to go for it. Juan Flatcher, Flash comes in. He's good for one. Vlad going to find Synopsy and Juan Flatcher. Rigon gets aggressive. Oh, and they can't deal with him. Down to the 2 versus 2. Such an important round here to find 18. It's going to be a safe plant coming in from Dragon. And Depression on the orb goes hunting. This could be huge. There's going to be one round the corner in just a second that he could meet in the form of GXX, who comes out on top of it. Flash goes round. Depression opting not to take the fight here, just holding the safe angle. Unsure, and it could cost him. Scenari with the peek finds him. It's all down to Dragon. Doesn't know where the second player's coming from. They're both from short. Scenari takes his head clean off. And that'll be the defuse for BNE. An 18th and a second overtime secured. A bit of BM for good measure. In fact, a lot of BM.
I love it.
From Scenari. Yeah, we do indeed. We're here for it. Yeah, of course. I mean, going into what could be the final round.
Exactly. It's one of those things as well for Scenari. He's in a fantastic lunch coming through in a really good retake from BNE, all things considered. But that's a tilter. To lose that 2 versus 2 in a post plant for iNation. Scenari just making sure that they know what sort of pressure they're on. He's adding even a little bit more as well. Tilt is never a good thing when we look towards these sort of long, marathon, arduous games. And if Henry can add to it, it's all part of it. All part of the game. And I'm all for it. 18-17. The question is now, ladies and gents, do we see this one here? Do Bad News Eagles find the last hurdle and find 19? Or is double overtime needed? That is the question on the cards. And it is quite a tough one to call, of course. You know, it is OT, so plenty of money to work with and a full buy to come out in just a second from both sides. Where do we fare? Where do we fare? The trend that we've set so far is a very slight lead in favor of the T side. So if anything's to play by, iNation looking and hoping that things continue on that trend. But B&E want to break it up.
Utility going down to just keep them at bay. This is a very aggressive round coming through. Juan Flatro kind of needs to get out of there. Down will go GXX. Juan Flatro finally manages to find a kill as a player in towards pit as well. This is a really tough setup to beat, and it looks like they won't. 2 remain against 4. Vladan from the apartments trying to wrestle his way out here. He can't win the fight against Juan. It's just going to be down to depression to do it all, and he can't get it done. 19-17, and the victory goes the way of BNE. Oh my goodness, what a slog it was. A messy, messy game from both teams involved, but ultimately it will be BNE to come away with it.
You know, being honest, it's an expected result in the sense of B&E take it, but in the fashion they took it, not at all. I mean, what a game by iNation. I think, you know, we really got to say commiserations towards them because they put up such a good fight. There's a reason that this iNation side are at the RMR. I think a lot of people are questioning how they got there. That's proof in the pudding. They've just taken one of the best teams in Tier 2, probably arguably even the best team in Tier 2, and one of the better teams in the world to overtime and very, very close to double OT as well. Credit to them, a really, really solid performance. But when in Martin Mo's mental fortitude, ability, longevity, fine margins, is all that matters. Is the best of one.
Absolutely, I mean, just honestly, what absolutely what I love to see, just a game like that going all the way and having some exciting rounds in there. They might be messy, but it does mean, you know, there's a lot of excitement that comes through from them, and ultimately a really, really impressive showing from both sides. BNE, as we say, the way that it should go, but it is in a very sort of surprising kind of manner, and we'll see. That opens them up now. You know, they've got this winners game coming up, and VOYVODA may well be able to take them tit for tat as well. Probably going to end up on an Inferno for that one. So, you know, it really does show some scary signs. Nonetheless, folks, that's going to be us for a little while. We've got a quick break. When we're back, more Counter-Strike action coming your way.
Në 7:25 djem e kemi lojën tjetër. Nuk e kemi shkit, e kemi tjetër ekip me VOYVODA. Në 7:25. 7:25, mos harroni. GG për shqipet tona sot edhe notification që mi orë në notification juve. Ciao, shimi.
they've got the same play style. It's both extremely aggressive. It's frag heavy. It's very, very kind of, early round, getting kills, numbers advantage. So it's a battle of essentially, the same mentality.
We're activating the same way that they did in the game earlier. Not so sure, right? Dreamer having a pretty good game, but I think the rifleage and the individual power of BNE is going to be higher coming into this. We said the same thing, though, when they headed into the Eternal Fire matchup. So, you do begin to question where you're at and question the things that you know when it comes to these teams.
True.
So VOYVODA really looking like the upset merchants for today. And if they can keep that up, it would be quite amazing. They played their own game. They played their own game very well. Again, bringing it close, but we are expecting close matchups, especially when it moves on to an Inferno as it was. So really, really impressive stuff to come through from some of the individuals there. I just don't know. GXX has just had a great game, and I think that they're going to have to be very careful with the AWP play in particular as to how they activate. Juan Flatcher, though, on the rifling was absolutely unstoppable. He was the one that really was scary. So they have to be incredibly careful with around the rifles and indeed how that goes. We've got the veto for you folks. Let's have a look at how this one goes down. We're maybe expecting another Inferno out of it, but it would be nice to see a change up, that's for sure.
I mean, both of these two teams love Inferno, so I would be very surprised if they don't go back towards there. It is the middle ground map for both of them. Like we said, B&E now on a 6-map winning streak there, and it's not being banned. Honestly, I don't think we even need to beat around the bush. It's got to go to Inferno. It just always had to be, right? It is the core for both of these two teams. It's always their float map. And I think there's probably even kind of a mutual agreement as we just both got a close win, in our opening games in Inferno. Now let's see who actually is the best team in this group. It's the perfect middle ground. It's a map in which both of these two teams love and, live and die by, essentially. And for as long as we've known both the B&E boys and, of course, I guess the iterations of Bulgarian CS and that of Fiend and Skade, Inferno has always been a go-to. It's always been one of their best pocket maps and always been part of their, what is their identity. So I like this. I think it's going to be the fairest fight. Whoever we get winning this cements themselves fairly and truly as the best in this group, and it's an extremely close group.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess indeed it's got to end on Inferno. That's usually where these things come down to, right? The middle of the ground map for a lot of teams, in fact. So it does make a great deal of sense that we have Inferno again. But yeah, we are looking to battle out for that top spot of this group. And it really is a surprise that we don't see BNE up against Eternal Fire in this one. So VOYVODA certainly going to have that again. Again, the guesswork that comes into it. BNE might not be too sure how to play against VOYVODA. And indeed, I think it will become a very, very rough matchup once again. Bad News Eagles, getting that map win percentage up there with the previous one. And yeah, both teams, you can see why, right? The stats just sort of speak for themselves on this.
Yeah, I mean, they're so even, aren't they? When you look across the board, everything apart from the amount of times they've played it, so even. It's actually it's ridiculous how close it is in terms of win percentage, CT round percentage, and T round win percentage. The only difference here being VOYVODA have played this map more times, but the caliber of opponents, the same argument we made against iNation, differs. B&E play a slightly higher level of teams when it comes towards this map, so potentially that could be something that's in their back pocket to give them the edge here. While for VOYVODA, they've got the reps, they've got the experience. 14 times played in the last realms is a pretty decent little run to go through. I'll always go back to the one stat though. At the moment, B&E are on a 6-map winning streak when it comes towards Inferno. And yes, they do look a little bit flaky at times. We saw against iNation, it was damn close, but still, all that matters is they don't lose.
Yeah, that is very true. And I think they're a team when it comes down to the crunch and those close rounds where it really does matter. We saw them just sort of pick apart, especially in the second half of overtime. Really, really solid gameplay from them. It had been a while since they were on the T side and everything. And, they were able to just bring such a great game to it. So I think, again, it just speaks to the way that they can play when the pressure is on. They really do perform well, and I think that the pressure is going to be on them ever so slightly here because VOYVODA, that scary team that have just taken down Eternal Fire, right? No missed punches, and the thing is as well, you've maybe come into the game against iNation perhaps looking further than it in the same way that we did. It's not a bad thing when we do it, but ultimately, it is an effect that can happen where you get a little too confident and you just make some of these early plays, some of these early aggressions, and that gives the footing that iNation were able to get, and that's what eventually landed the overtime. So really do worry a bit for BNE if they come in with that same sort of mentality.
Yeah, and there's definitely, with kind of the extended break at a half time where they cooled off, and then, a few of those rounds, we can definitely say they looked tilted in the way in which they were losing them. They were slightly rough, little bit shaky in terms of the way they were playing. They were getting, kind of roped into this weird force by war, which I don't think they needed to be part of all too much. And thankfully, we kind of saw Devil Walk call for the pause, right? I had a good conversation with them, got the boys back on track. I think we all know that B&E they're a very emotional side, and everybody knows that. We've seen them on LAN, very emotive. They like to really make their voices heard. And I think there's definitely an argument to be made where they got wrapped up in their emotions at times in towards that best of one, and maybe let iNation get a little bit too much room to work with, and maybe they shouldn't have if B&E were playing their game. Thankfully now, and hopefully now, Devil Walk had a bit of an opportunity to talk to the boys, get him in line, Tenopsy as well, the IGL, having a bit of a conversation and thinking, okay, let's just calm down, right? We know we're one of the best teams here. On paper, we should beat VOYVODA.
Tash teamet egentligen kan delay cover.
Yes, very true. The proof is going to be in the pudding with this one. We should hopefully be into the game shortly, folks.
Tipa ska upp kranen i
yeah,
så kan kreas flow.
They certainly need to come in
Kan
with a
delay
bit more of a
Tash
message, a bit more of a statement.
Så då
In
jag
this
kan
game, it is going to be a scary matchup against the VOYVODA boys, and I don't know. I'm still leaning the way of BNE. I think that they should be the favorites in this one. I can't say clear favorites anymore because of what's happened so far today, but they should be the favorites to take this, and ultimately we're expecting big things out from them once again on Inferno. If they can get the CT-sided start as well, that's where they had a little more prominence. I think that unfortunately they let themselves down so slightly towards the end of it, but at the end of the day, they were able to take things in the overtime. So we'll see. It really is a keen competition between these two teams. And again, just the one spot available, the pressure, it feels like is always on these teams, and who's going to crack is the big question.
And the fact that you've got Aurora and Cloud9 on the other side, they're waiting now. They're watching. And this is the big thing, is that Aurora and Cloud9, they'll be sitting at home. They'll be waiting and watching these games and seeing, right, who are we coming against, and what sort of preparation can we go into towards tomorrow's best of threes. Not even now, of course, the best of one. So then it really becomes very, very hotly contested, especially that lower bracket as well, right? And this, of course, upper bracket game, winner of this, tops the group, locks themselves into, of course, tomorrow's action, and will take on, actually, Aurora. We already know, because Aurora's second seed over into his Group A, so they lock themselves in. So that's who they've got ready and waiting, and I think there's probably a good expectation that Aurora, maybe even Starix as well, the coach, is sitting at home, watching this game, seeing who their opponent is going to be, so they can get preparation done tonight and tomorrow before it all begins. So, interesting times. Very interesting. I think B&E, like you mentioned, the favourites coming towards this game, but Eternal Fire were also the favourites coming in towards the earlier game. We know how that panned out. Like I said earlier, though, the only difference for me between the Eternal Fire game, who are a very methodical, cool, calm, collected side, and B&E, is that B&E and VOYVODA have mirrored playstyles. And I think if you're going pound for pound, you've got to go with B&E.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's got to be the choice that you make with this one. But we'll see. We shall see. When the chips are down, when the game gets started, it is a very different beast. The game is live here going into the knife round, of course. And as we said, it carries a bit of weight. Not too much, though, in our minds. But the players, I think it's always a nice start when you get to pick your side.
Exactly.
Yani sitt igen. Inshallah fitar med lekta. Var det samma som lag? Haydi.
For B&E, what we saw in towards the
Like, that
their
gick med sånt
T side was actually a little bit more consistently formidable than their CT side. They got 8 rounds of the half on their T side. They were able to see things off relatively solidly. So even if they were to lose a knife round, I don't think it's the end of the world for them. Thankfully, things are actually looking pretty good. I think it's looking like they're going to start on that CT. Oxygen will find one, but it's a quite comfortable knife round, all things considered, for them. So B&E went out again. And I'm assuming we'll see a similar fate of where they head on over towards that CT side. But what are going to start on that T side? How will things pan out? Both of these two sides, more formidable in my eyes on the T. So maybe it could actually play into the hands of VOYVODA. Who knows?
So the question becomes now, VOYVODA have had this time off. They've had time to cool. Will they still be able to bring an A game into Counter-Strike here? We'll have to see. I think they need to make sure that they're nice and warm. BNE, we know that they will be for sure. Ready and raring to get into this one, though. The pistol getting kicked off. It's just a little utility portal by VOYVODA. That's all they're after at this point. And meanwhile, on the other side of things, we've got flash setup with the kit for Scenarii. No Julies this time around, so a different pistol setup for BNE.
Red stop. Already got a good amount of space. Nice flash. A 2-player spotted close. Dreaming on the other side of the map, finding success. Red Star still remaining here all alone, finding the first as well over towards top Banana. Things are getting messy here. He's tapping away. It's a great flash. Oh, Red Star, brilliance from him. Can he make it a third? He's going for the knife, in fact. Red Star, what are you doing? No, don't do it. And he will finish it off with a pistol. He actually could have got the knife, in fact. It's messy, chaotic, scrappy. But as VOYVODA would find a first round flawlessly.
Starting as they mean to go on the VOYVODA side of things. I'm sure they'll bring some of that scrap into the future rounds as well. But yeah, really, really successful stuff coming through from them. Ultimately, no contest in the pistol, so I think BNE kicking themselves slightly. They don't get the strong start once again. They are going to be on the back foot. They played a lot of that first game on the back foot. They were on the comeback. It was 14-11 at one point, and they managed to get the overtime and then the victory in overtime as well. So they'll be used to this sort of position. They don't want to be in it any longer than they need to be.
That's it. Well, VOYVODA. Double Mac 10 for them, getting already a little bit of space over towards apps. It's setting up towards A. I gotta say, not exactly a good call here. It's a gamble stack by BNE, which could actually get them some success. They're flying out, and Bubble falls to his death. It's a gamble stack which is working well. No way. Already 3 kills.
Same story as the previous map. This is how they found their first round against iNation, was off the back of the Force Buy win. And BNE have done it again. They must have a great start when it comes to Force Buy breaks, because that was so damn clean and a great gamble coming in. Very, very predictable stuff from VOYVODA. BNE so ready. And, you know, it really does speak to the fact that I think they're going to be prepared for what they're playing up against here. Just because, yeah, 4 on A is one thing, but all 5 with hardly any info to work with is just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a masterful call, I gotta say. Chinopsy, take a bow, credit for him. Gamble stacking with that mixed buy, and he walk straight into it. VOYVODA get read like a book, and that'll completely flip the script. Red Star, the only lone rifle for the T-side in towards this round. Alongside him, just pistols. It's going to be difficult, but of course with that in towards the previous round, and BNE shut us up pretty quickly.
We'll see here, though. They are fending off against a pretty scary buy with Red Star leading the charge on the Galil, particularly in towards that B bomb site. They only have the SMGs over there, so, you know, these armored opponents are going to be difficult to mow through. So they have to watch themselves. They have to watch themselves very much so. In comes the charge. Scenari will find the first. However, they've gone towards CT to try and take some fights here. Red Star going to find success. Scenari on the 5-7 gets himself another, but it's Rigon who goes down. The big frag. 2 versus 2 then for the retakers. They've got a quick one in Juan Flatro coming through from Banana. He has been heard, though, and they're just looking to keep the pace as high as possible and trap them in the positions they're in so they can't get into a decent post plant. It's not the best setup, really. Oxygen very low at first orange. Red Star finds a frag in the off angle, though, and now just Juan Flatro left to deal. Double peek, and they'll find him. Beautiful stuff coming through from VOYVODA. Incredibly ready for the fight, and they get a force buy back of their own.
Force by Wars already and kicking, raring in fact. Already. Great work. This is exactly how we saw things pan out against iNation. And to us, you'd expect BNE to answer right back with one of their own. They did it a few times against iNation. The question is, do they now take a little bit of a break off the back and maybe go for that low buy? More money to work with in towards round number 4. They won't have loss bonus, of course. Built up in any sort of steady state. So it might tempt them into a big buy. Seeing armor picked up. When Flatro got an upgraded pistol too. Rigon could technically buy in towards a rifle if they really want to do as well. But is this the right call? Because VOYVODA, look at that. That's a conclusive buy over toward that T side. First pause called by VOYVODA off the back of round 1. My oh my. Early control as well. Probably going to go the way of the T side. Just banking on the fact that they have the better firepower, the better run of form in terms of what they've got at the moment, and of course, Econ to work with. But as expected, BNE come in with a force buy of their own. They love him.
They do indeed. It was a late decision as well to go for it. Juan Flatro is still just, you know, holding on to the 5-7 that he had. Not really full spending, not getting all the utility out. Rigon, flash comes around for him, no one playing. Oh, aggressive smoke comes in. A secondary flash could have had a frag off the back of it. Meanwhile, Rigon just trying to play aggressive here and hopefully catch someone through the smoke. It's not going to happen. They're going for a boost up to get the first frag. It was watched for, but he comes away with the kill anyway.
Already, now, that opener huge as well, considering that Synopsis got in behind. Surely not. Surely not another force buy. 3 in a row? It's asking too much.
Red Star goes down to GXX. Another opportunity for GXX. It will be robbed. However, the A bomb site has been left very vulnerable here. Thank goodness they sort of rotated one in. AK going to be retrieved as Synopsis made his way back over. He will go down. Maybe goes a bit early. Scenari trying. He will also fall. And somehow they are pulling off the impossible. Unbelievable. On the A bomb site, they've brought it back. And now it'll just be Rigon remaining when it was looking very good in a 4 versus 3 situation. Maybe briefly a 4 versus 2 as well. Madness, absolute madness. Rigon going to give the situation up here and just save the M4 that he's got. VOYVODA. They will find themselves 3. They will survive the force buy that looked like they were going to lose. Massive, massive round.
VOYVODA, I've got to say for them, they get very fortunate that things pan out in their favor. It gets mighty close. Only one staying alive for them as well. It all starts to fall apart very, very quickly. Thankfully, they're getting a little bit of control towards the A side and are able to get that bomb down. Once the bomb goes down and the pressure flips, because it was really on a knife's edge for a matter of moments, but Bubble made the difference, stepping up. And of course, the big man, the leader, leading from the front. Leading center 2 for VOYVODA. Bit of a gap, bit of breathing room, considering especially that for B&E, that was that forced investment. And VOYVODA will know that they just don't have the money to work with in towards this one.
Still, though, anything it feels like is possible, especially if they can get Rigon activated. Quick fake out on towards the B bomb site. It's actually a front site smoke coming in. They don't have all the bodies here, but they do have the M4 in tow. The name of the game is what they're going to do with it and what it's going to be able to find on the site here. And they will work themselves slowly but surely on the VOYVODA side of things. They understand the position they're in and how important it is to get this round cleanly. Flash comes round. Rigon's giving himself a smoke to work with. Another flash comes in, trying to get aggressive. Rigon only good for the one, though. Traded out easily. The pack mentality of VOYVODA is too strong. The flank is in. The flank is thwarted and taken down. So that is that. VOYVODA move up to 4 very early doors.
Yeah, that one's more conclusive. Granted, right, expected, just considering that B&E just didn't have anything to bring to the table, but we've already seen these force buy and pistol rounds be a little bit shaky from both sides, where, you know, the much better firepower has maybe slightly struggled in a way that which they wouldn't. That's conclusive. That's the sort of statement we're looking for. VOYVODA starting off very, very well. They've always loved Inferno. It's been a kind of a home of Bulgarian Counter-Strike for a long, old time. We already saw one upset today. Potentially another one on the cards. I'm going to get too ahead of myself just yet. It's still very early doors and the money's not really been in check for B&E. Now we get to see what they're all about. A full buy to come out for B&E coming towards the next. VOYVODA going to be tested properly against an actual full investment, but most importantly, a chunk of utility to work with. And speaking of deep util using towards Banana, but Red Star avoids the vast majority of it as he relays some of his own. Rigon, close and personal. Nothing being given up.
Synopsy will find an early frag here. Oh, the trade attempt from Oxygen actually finds GXX. Pretty crazy stuff. Down goes Rigon, though, so it's back into a 3-on-3. Red Star just going to entry by himself over on to B. Ridiculous scenes. And I think the A player is just going to defend and go for the save as VOYVODA find another round out of nowhere.
Question marks coming through, man. Big time. B&E, they look a little bit shell-shocked. VOYVODA just taking the pace to them. I'm liking it. You know, sometimes when you come towards these games and you have two teams to play, you know, very, very similar mindsets and very similar sort of play styles where it's hyper-aggressive, both, you know, really, really emphatic on taking control, taking early engagements. These sort of early kind of rounds being found and momentum being delivered by VOYVODA can be all the difference. This could be enough to just build up such a deficit. Where things look very spicy going forward. I don't know. I think BNE need a call. I think they need to pause, right? And just have a conversation. Right now, they're not getting any control towards this game. And I think things are going to become very dicey if they continue to let this game play out on this current trajectory. They've got to take a break here. Try and ice out VOYVODA. Try and cool them off because they're red hot right now.
Brilliant stuff from Red Star on the entry. It will be a tactical timeout taken here from BNE. Yeah, I mean, icing them out is one thing, but at the moment, the way that these rounds are going so thick, so fast, you have to get rounds on the board. I don't think the mental game is going to affect VOYVODA too much. They were probably expecting a timeout to come in, to be honest with you, because it has been dire from BNE, that previous round in particular. Madness, absolute madness. VOYVODA coming in with a statement so far.
My oh my, BNE, 6 rounds played, 1 has gone their way. Not exactly the position you want to be in. Does make you question as well how much VOYVODA were watching in towards that previous game. Maybe, you know, the Inferno was all part of the plan. They understood that BNE, in their eyes, maybe looked beatable. And right now, most definitely do. This is very good indeed. Early Uto coming through. BNE, the buy for them, middling. In terms of the AWP and the M4 in order the AWP dropped. Will be scooped up. Not a good position to be in. That's healthy nades.
Really big damage coming through. Synopsy up close and personal with the 5-7 could come away with 1, but surely gets dealt with quickly. They were ready for him on the angle, but he does find the frag. Any protection for him, unfortunately, not dealt with. Rigon on the AWP. Oh, does find a wallbang. Taken down eventually. Juan Flatro also dealt with. Poison stays cool in the 2 versus 1 there at the top end of Banana and gets VOYVODA number 6.
You see the logo. The flames of VOYVODA. That's 5 on the trot. 5 in a row. Oh, this is not nice. Not a good position for BNE to be in. And once again, like we said, we're calling on the likes of, you know, Synopsy, Devil War, the brains behind the operations to try and figure out a way back into this. So far, the CT side is struggling. And granted, BNE's best side against I Nation was their T side. That's where they did most of their best work. They got, you know, better win percentages there. But right now, the C side is lacking, and it wasn't that bad over towards Regulation at the very least. They at least got 7 rounds. Rigon will find 1 insta-traded.
And Fletcher on the spot. Molotov goes down. Uncharacteristically slow round here from VOYVODA. Understanding how important the situation and, of course, the position that they find themselves in. Where do they go? It looks like it's going to be a B hit coming through, but Scenari debating, sticking around. Something pulling him back towards the B bomb site would be correct. Smoke going to go down before any utility seen from VOYVODA. Got plenty of time to just wait this out. They're going to opt to go through it with that smoke coming from CT. They'll be able to cross in quite easily here. Get the bomb down in just a matter of moments. Molotov comes through, makes life a bit awkward. Quick boost up here, but no frags netted. And they know there's another player now in towards CT. The bomb going to go down 4 versus 3 in their favor. As Scenari tries to back away, but gets his head ripped clean off. VOYVODA keep on winning rounds.
Once again, another save coming through. They just can't even make an attempt here. There's no way. VOYVODA are so aggressive, so strong at taking these early fights. And BNE constantly just looking surprised. Every single round we're seeing VOYVODA just going fast, taking early fights. They don't care. They want to take it right to them. They want to rely on the mechanical prowess, their aim duels, and they're winning them. It's the right way to play it. You know, the age-old moniker of it ain't broke, don't fix it is really in fruition here. Because of VOYVODA, every single round they know they can just fly in at BNE and force them into really rough engagements. Granted, a little bit of luck coming through. We'll admit that. A couple of shots with the smoke going the way of the VOYVODA side, but is luck even a real thing? Who knows? Or is it just good preparation from VOYVODA? That is 6 rounds in a row for them. They are loving life in the server. One more round, and they guarantee a lead at the half. And to make matters even better for them, B&E don't really have a buy to respond.
Fast B play coming in once again from the T side. Nades ringing down range. Will leave a couple players tagged out for the worse. And they try and return them, but to no avail. Although Bubble is left on 50 HP, so there's small differences here. Red Star going to get his head picked off by GXX on the AWP. It's not a bad way to start this round. They've got an M4 in there to work with as well, so this is not totally out of the question just yet.
Well, like you said, definitely not out of the question. Of course, no gun scooped up and one flat throw. Speaking of guns, his dropped. Dreamer, nice angle to hold. The M4 should have no problems being relayed to other hands. And of course, the Molotov too, which does help.
Flash is coming round. They're so blind on the entry. Scenario going to drop Bubble. I believe that's also the bomb that lands at the feet of the CT side, and they've got late info of... Oh, Scenario runs out of ammo, unfortunately, but a huge round coming in from the pit area. Poison on the AWP. Quick scopes one. Needs to pull off a reload. Hasn't checked his ammo in a little while, and it will come back to bite him. A force buy win for BNE. Puts a stop to VOYVODA's absolute tear that they've been on.
They needed one of those. They just needed one of those weird, janky rounds to try and swing the momentum back in their favor. Brilliant. You know, GXX, he didn't have a great game in towards that previous one against High Nation. I think overall, he was actually the lowest rated player. It really was a poor performance from him. But thankfully, he's finding, you know, early bits of form, and he's trying to make that AWP now sing a little bit more. Again, it's been slow starting for them, but to be honest, that's been the story of BNE so far in this game. GXX can start finding a little bit of form, and then the others like Synopsy, Sanary, One Flat Show hit the shots we know they can. Then it's seriously game on.
A lot of money to cut through, though. VOYVODA have built up some good bank. It will start slow into this round, but again, looking to burst round the corner. Rigon was thinking about a solo move, gets taken down. Bubble goes fast, and he goes wide to take Scenario. And that's got to spell a save from the BNE side of things. VOYVODA, again, just bursting in, individually based, but super effective.
Senary's got to get one there as well. Let's not beat around the bush. That was a belabored spray. Big whiff, and it cost on the B site. And actually could still remain to be kind of costly. Oxygen is lurking. Bomb will go down. What's the call for B&E? Did they make any changes to the position they're currently in? Two players here, in fact. Oxygen and Dreamer. Are they going to play trades? Synopsy. No idea. They sneaked their way out. And this is becoming even more costly. And not only are they losing the round, they're going to guarantee they lose a half. And Dreamer's hitting shots like that, making things all the more expensive. GXX tucked in an off angle and hoping, praying he can keep the big green in play. Oh, they've heard him. He's going to die off the time.
Yeah, he certainly will be picked off. There will be a couple kills that come in thanks to that bomb radius being ridiculous. Hello. Absolutely miles away from the bomb site there, if I do say so myself. Nonetheless, they make the burst work. And VOYVODA immediately back on the board is not what BNE wanted. Another timeout got to be required here because this is getting dangerous. And indeed, there will be a timeout. It's almost as though I cast a game for a living. Nonetheless, VOYVODA, they are really streaking ahead. And this is terrifying to see.
You're spot on, though. I mean, it just is such a necessity. Really, really needed. B&E, it's just not comfy. Nothing is really going the way that they want. Right now, the questions of the buy, I think they will full buy in towards this. You know, GXX and Rigon, over $6,000 they got to work with. So worst case scenario, they can drop one over. But it's the question of how they're going to do something different here. I mean, how are they really going to make this work in their favor? It's a double AWP setup. That's going to be the plan of action. Double AWP setup and then no buy around it? Hang on a second here. Now, this is rogue.
Don't ask me, dude. I guess they still have some spare money to work with. But, yeah, this is something kind of weird. And And I don't know if it's going to work, to be honest. GXX takes the peek onto Poison. He was expecting a boost. They were expecting, you know, something fruity into this round, but so far, not so good. And the opportunity at the trade is thwarted. GXX playing pretty lucid right now. Could be difficult to pin down.
Vlad just took close that 5-7 at that sort of range. I'll always talk about it. Has the one-shot headshot potential, but Juan Fletcher going to show his presence, and now they'll be cautious of him.
Bubble. Working his way around through middle here. Just being the distraction player, as it is going to be a B hit once again. They found a lot of success over here. Rigon on the AWP is very, very ready. They might not be expecting him. Well, there's no might. They're definitely not expecting another AWP to be in play. Maybe they read that, you know, the AWP of A's move towards B, and they will play it careful, but we'll see. I'm expecting some dry swings here. That's exactly what happens. Rigon drops another. What a ridiculous round to be winning here. At least that's the way that it looks. There's a player on high, and Saneri rings true. Easy stuff in the end. Not a single frag goes the way of VOYVODA. BNE with the wildest buy that we've seen all tournament long, and they make it work.
It's a ridiculous round to be winning, but it's just the BNE way. That's BNE fashion I've ever seen. It's some quick shots, though. GXX one, this second shot from Rigon is lightning fast. Great round picked up. Well, what a game we have got on our hands as of right now. BNE up to a third. Yes, the deficit is still pretty large. It's a 5-round buffer that VOYVODA hold. Just finding that round with a double AWP investment, it would just give them such confidence, allow them to play their game. Teammates coming through. Red Star down to 81, but he'll continue to push down towards top car. And already, VOYVODA not too phased by the lost round. He's going to shake that one off. Right back into it. The similar way to taking all that map control.
Hoping that something crops up here. Not going to happen, though, because they are playing the passive setup on that B bomb side. BNE, look, man, they're doing well to find that round, but they have to string some together, and that's something that they have not done yet in this first half. So time is going to escape them if they're not careful. These rounds are still so valuable, and we still need them to go the way of BNE to recover this half.
Nade coming through could do a chunk of damage. Actually, for the most part, VOYVODA escape with very minimalistic. Bubble only takes 2 points. It looked on target. Time is of the essence. 30 seconds. They're fighting towards B now. Rig on the AWP. We know what he can do.
Oh, the smoke gets weird for him, though. Unfortunately, Poison was trained on the angle and able to take him down. Saneri going to be spotted round the corner. Not quite as good as you think it is, that cheeky little angle on the pillar. I think it was maybe Cadian a while ago. Really made that one known. Either way, a 5 versus 3. They do have bodies here quite quickly. If Juan Fletcher can find anything, if anything comes his way, maybe they go for it. But I think they are more on the save side of the equation.
I agree.
And indeed, that looks to be the trend. So really not looking good here. VOYVODA continue to get the rounds back.
Yeah, it's sort of a save / try and make it expensive. And it's only going to be expensive for them. Juan Fletcher will fall. It's looking like it will be flawless. Everybody's staying alive. Unless a couple of those banana players might fall to the bomb. The radius is pretty extensive. But nah, they've got away far enough in just enough time. So we're all well and good. VOYVODA, a flawless round to find their 9th. And we've had 2 very close games to start off the day. You know, we had a 16-13 to open up as VOYVODA took down Eternal Fire on this map. And of course, the map we've just seen of BNE versus iNation, 19-17, went to OT. But this one is looking one-sided. None of the other games had this sort of aura about them where what we see from VOYVODA right now, they just look unstoppable. None of the other games had this.
No, that's very true, actually. The VOYVODA in full control on the T side is really crazy to see. So we'll find out as the rest of this half pans out, and then into the second half as well, who is to be believed here, whether the, you know, B&E fans that'll all be out there, I'm sure, still in the corner of their team, or whether VOYVODA coming back from the dead ever so slightly. Some of these players thought it was all over for Bulgarian Counter-Strike when Fiend and Skade, you know, stopped finding success. Well, you'd be wrong, because they're still playing stellar Counter-Strike.
Auction jumping down. What's the call here? Bombs in towards spawn. Looking over towards B, it's the right call. It's only Senery here. He's had his moment, Senery. But he's going to be called upon. They might even play contact. If they do, he could be in a real troublesome state. In comes the flash. It's going to catch him brilliantly. Over towards CT, he falls. But Pobble is just too quick.
Oh, and Poison going to find another one as well with the AWP here. Sealing in the deal. Dreamer gets an AK kill. Very quickly up here. They're going to try and give it a go on the banana attack. They're frustrated. GXX in for one, but that's all he's going to get. And they will be written off. They should have a buy into the next round, but VOYVODA hitting 10 very, very quickly here.
This is ridiculous. I mean, what an affair we're seeing here. Credit to VOYVODA. We'll continue to say these guys, dark horses, underdog kings. And this kind of, you know, similar play style, mirrored compositions they like to come through in terms of the way they set themselves up. Everything is falling in the hands of VOYVODA. They're both, you know, they're two sides who prefer the T side. So there's still definitely the lifeline there of B&E will at some point going to their much preferred T side of Inferno. However, we do have to start thinking about that question of, is it too little, too late? Right now, in this position, at 10-3, I mean, this could be an even further massacre going forward. His sandbag's cleared, not properly. Rigon gets one, made that two.
Nice move coming in, VOYVODA, trying to test the water with a super fast one. Doesn't go well for them. So they will be forced back pretty heftily here on towards the A site itself. Oxygen. Fancying the peak. GXX with an off angle. Surely going to be unexpected here, and it's a left eye as well. Really difficult to win this one out. But GXX gets off it. They'll go for the short play, and well, Juan Flatro is ready for them to come his way. Going to get a smoke down to make sure that he can survive as well. Poison does not have a chance, and I think is just conceding the round, looking for a save.
Poison gonna drop the AWP, pick up an AK as well, just to try and make it expensive on the way out. They're all hunting him, they're circling the sharks. Smell blood in the water. And we'll see off Poison. Will the AWP be picked up? Doesn't make a difference, really. To be perfectly honest, they can't invest into one. So I guess it did actually end up working for the best. They're dropping the AWP and they're trying to make things expensive with the AK. Doesn't make a difference overall, but B&E will find their fourth. Still already, no matter what B&E do on the end of this half, we can only make the conversation that potentially VOYVODA might have done already quite enough. Having, at the very minimum, a 5-round lead heading in towards the CT side is just huge for the confidence.
Yeah, you'd expect so. Decent nade lands on towards Bubble. So it will be a good start for B&E. They're trying to worm their way back into these rounds, and it's been very difficult. It's been very, very hard. Oh, and we've had Synopsy drop out. That is the worst time. There's already damage done, so there's no way the round can be replayed here. It's going to be a 5-on-4. Thanks to the gods for VOYVODA. GXX just spotting around the corner. Flash comes in. He will be smoked off and calling for a bit of help on the defense of A.
Timing just horrific for B&E, just when they needed a bit of security. Rigon trying to fall away, and all he'll do is lose his life to the hands of Red Star. Now a 3 versus 5 ensues. Henry's caught by the flash, a messy spray, a laboured one, and one in which doesn't deliver kills. It's falling apart bit by bit.
Looking more and more likely then 11-4 at the turn of the half, especially after the T side. Yes, it's a more even map, but that's still a surprise to all of us involved. VOYVODA will dominate the first half. B&E could not string them together. B&E could not bring their A game to it, and VOYVODA will continue to surprise, taking down internal fire earlier, and now looking likely that they will take B&E.
Yeah, honestly, right now, this is just dominant. What a performance. What a performance being put up here by VOYVODA. we've got to give them their credit. You know, we came in talking about, we've always acknowledged that VOYVODA are underdogs. We always know that these guys, dark horses, have the potential to pull off these sort of results. But B&E were the, on paper, you know, the pundits' favourites, so to say. You know, we know they're good at this map. 6-map winning streak, like we were just talking about. A good slog against Iron Nation. A long game, but all in all, a well-controlled one, especially when things got out of hand. But this is too far out of hand. This is such a deficit now. I'm worried. A 7-round buffer is not exactly a pretty position to be in. If VOYVODA find a pistol, this one is done.
If, of course.
Exactly.
BNE, though, moving into the Lion's Den. Really scary stuff at the top end of mid here. They've got to be careful around the brackets. So many players ready for them. They're not going to fully commit. Rigon starts going around the corner, does manage to find one. They might have read the stack, though, but it's too late. The bomb gets dropped. Poison spins around to survive. And suddenly, 4 versus 2. They have to find a way back in with these Glocks. Down will go another. The smoke in the way to make sure that Scenario has no chance at fighting, and it's looking like VOYVODA will find themselves the pistol. Unbelievable scenes here on Inferno.
Unless Senerity has a bit of magic in his pocket with 39 points of HP, a Glock, a smoke, and a flash. It's going to be VOYVODA up to 12 in what has so far just been a massacre. Dreamer see it off as well. 2 kills to his name. 3 for Poison. The 2 of them absolutely clean house. 12-4. And now I can probably say, Script, that I feel like this one's dead in the water. I feel like it's done. It has been one-sided. And potentially we could talk about other things as well. About, you know, maybe a little bit of fatigue off the back of what was a long and arduous Inferno previously by B&E. That was a long game and then towards the OT. And a very kind of mentally draining one as well. While for VOYVODA, they've had a bit of time to rest, bit of time to kind of recoup off the back of their quite close game. And they just look fresh. They really look fresh right now.
Jemi në rrezik djem, inshallah fitojmë ha. Jemi në gatë rrezikit. GG për djem. Ju në lo, I ka ro me njëherë me lyt me këta.
Well, just going for the hard eco then to get the AKs out as soon as possible. But we'll see with this one, you know, the Glocks go charging in. They sometimes find success. Just got to be careful, really. Really, really quiet here. No one moving. I think they're just stacking in the apartments, hoping that someone comes their way to give them this free frag that they so desire. And I don't think it's happening, boys. I'd get out of there and maybe just try and find some action elsewhere.
Agreed. Very much agreed. All goes quiet. Waiting. But what for? What's going to be the cue for them? Oxygen. Going to be the difference maker. Maybe if they go for a rotate the dive out of apps. When Flatch are going to try and find him. Oxygen will spot him out. They've crossed in towards short. Now things have become messy. Never mind. Comfortably cleaned up. It's when Flatch all alone. And I think he should follow the same fate that has fallen brethren. 13-4, a 9-round gap. What a massacre we're seeing here.
I think Juan Flatcher found a burst kill, which is hilarious. I don't think those pull off very often. Maybe we'll catch it here on the replay. Let's see. Oh, we missed it. It's all the CT-sided kills. God damn it. Either way, 13 coming in for VOYVODA. Looking very, very scary. And I think, you know, this kind of scoreline is just ultimately the game in and of itself, to be honest with you. Let's see what B&E can get done. We know them as a bit more of a T-sided team, but this is just a crazy comeback that they require now, and I don't know that they are capable of it. I don't know that many teams are capable of it, particularly if you lose the first round. Rigon going to be left low. The flash is super effective, though, from the T side. Showing them how it's done. They've certainly got the chops. But a lot of damage done with those nades. Oxygen has to be careful here. Synopsy's tracking him. They're going to move around and very much so bank on the B-bomb side. We talked about the mid-rounding from BNE. Here it is again.
Synopsy's wrapped. And he should have found the kill, but he doesn't. Molotov will come through as well. Dreamer causing problems single-handedly, trying to stay alive. Couple of taps coming his way, but they know exactly where he is. But Senery will follow suit. Reload coming off. He's been given the luxury of it. One flash caught by the flash, but overlooked, and he somehow remains alive for a matter of mere moments. GXX will fall, and the best opportunity for B&E to get in towards this game falls.
Djem lojën e hapur, po inshallah loja tjera fitojmë. Kjo vesh një rund, shnosh, GG, jena lop. GG për shqipët, bëni like sa ma shumë, bëni suba edhe notification, prek në atë që mi ardh streami ku ta lëshoj tjera herë për bënejnë.
Amazing stuff. VOYVODA keep it coming, and it will be the half buyout from BNE. You know, the hope still alive slightly, but really starting to dwindle now.
I think hope is kind of lost in their eyes as well as it's kind of in ours. Senori trying to take first contact here. Bobble falls at the angle, it's probably the worst time. Tags it towards Red Star too. Only a small amount of damage, but enough to be notable. But Red Star reduction onto right back. It's just too easy.
Far too easy, mate. Far too easy. Red Star will be on the other side of the smoke, ready to go, but there's nothing coming his way. And they will just back off them.
5 versus 3. Of course, not really expecting all too much from being in this sort of round, but we were just sort of hoping, you know, a bomb plant would be nice, give them a bit of longevity in terms of the cash, potentially for a GXX in towards an AWP, but they walk straight into Poison. 2 to his name with the AK, and Rigon will follow the same suit. It's Dreamer who cleans it up, and it's another flawless round. That seems to be the story of the CT side. The amount of flawless rounds that VOYVODA have walked away from, they're just not even remotely being pressured. There's just no sweat off their back at all.
Honestly unbelievable the way that this one's gone down. If you told me VOYVODA was going to beat Eternal Fire, I would have laughed. If you told me that they were going to beat BNE 16-4 potentially, I'd say you probably need to be put away. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. But we're here for it. This is what these types of tournaments are all about, and the best of ones, as we said, anything possible. Nice find from Poison. They are so confident right now. He just runs in completely dry. But the fact he's allowed to do that, BNE, the tilt factor starts to come into play, and I think they will start blaming themselves slightly as to how these rounds are going down. There's been a few silly kills here or there that really do make the difference, bro.
Gotta agree. A lot of rookie errors creeping in. Nice smoke into his top car as well. Just completely shunted the idea that B&E were trying to get there. They were trying to take top car control, and off the back of that, maybe punish one of those B-rotate players. But no, they're smoked out. Now they're forced to, of course, bide some time, but also expend some util to reclaim it.
Just faking out towards A. There is 2 ready to go here on the site itself. Boost finds 1. Oh, Red Star goes down a little easy maybe, and they know exactly where Bubble is at as well. Got a smoke to work with to just give him a bit of space to play around, try and get a reposition. If he can find one more, that would be ridiculous. Onto the USP, just out and out looking for the fight. Still, he does the damage. You see the dink land with that USP. All Bubble, baby, and now a 3 versus 2 ensues with the CT smoke going down. The bomb has yet to be planted. 25 seconds to get it down. Can they even get out? Can they get to a good spot? I think the bomb's been spilled in a really awkward position here to try and get through. Rigon to save. Not going to happen. 16-4 for VOYVODA. Are you kidding? What has occurred? What has gone down? Absolutely mental scenes out on Inferno as VOYVODA make mincemeat out of BNE.
What a streak at the end there as well by VOYVODA. It was just really good Counter-Strike coming through with everything played into their hands. I think for BNE, we've got to ask questions. What happened? What a capitulation. You know, they were very solid against our nation. Went the full distance, went towards OT, and then against VOYVODA, they were so prepared. And it's the same argument. Yes, I know statistically, BNE are very good in Inferno. They like the map the same way Eternal Fire did. All you're doing is playing against one of the puggiest, one of the most aggressive sides in all of Counter-Strike in Tier 2. We've seen it in Skade, we've seen it in Fiend, and you're playing them on their home ground. The puggiest map of all. Inferno, one that relies so heavily on aim duels and it just plays
Bane
into the hands
sa
of
edhe
VOYVODA. Yes,
notification
pound
që
for
me
pound
arë
of,
notification.
player to player, B&E definitely have the kind of the bigger names.
Me
the
arë
star value names.
notification kur
However,
talqoj
it's nothing
streamin.
not hitting their shots. It was a
Në ora
very
10 e kemi
solid
një
game
loj.
by VOYVODA. No respect shown. They locked themselves
Shimin
into
ora
a game
10, GG.
for tomorrow, which is going to be very spicy in those best of threes.
Yeah, that's just it, isn't it? They make their way through to the BO3s, kind of unbelievable. Maybe they could have done it in the decider game we'd give them, but even then, just absolutely insane that they're able to do that. Of course, not it for BNE. They will still stick around, of course. There is that decider game coming down a little bit later once we've got the losers game out of the way, which can be our next one. But yeah, surprise all around. VOYVODA with a great game coming in, and super impressive stuff from them. Great to see, and Bulgarian Counter-Strike back on top maybe. Nonetheless, we've got a break to take here. When we get back, it is iNation up against Eternal Fire.